hit it? Should I hit it again? Is there a pause?
That's weird. Part of the conversation that President Trump had, at least according to
especially with James here, I mean, I would think that
the idea of security guarantees for Ukraine. It was unclear what it exactly looks like. Over the weekend, President Trump's envoy talking about how the Russians were willing to allow some security protections for Ukraine.
I'm Vicky Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. President Zelensky will have a human shield around him when he walks into his White House meeting with President Trump today. European leaders hoping to prevent the kind of shouting match that marred the Ukrainian president's last visit, and also hoping to encourage Trump to take a tougher stance with Russian President Putin.
Dozens of Democratic lawmakers who fled Texas 2 weeks ago to stop a redistricting plan are expected to head back today. Former Texas Democratic Congressman Beto O'Rourke.
When and if these state legislators return here, let's make sure that we thank them for the fight, for the courage that they have shown.
The new congressional maps, which would add 5 Republican seats, are expected to pass. Lawmakers in California responding with their own redistricting plan. CBS News Sacramento's political analyst Gary Dietrich.
This is day one of really the formal process of California moving forward on a November 4th special election to put in place 5 more congressional seats that would be favorable for the Democrats.
Hurricane Erin's powered back up to a Category 4 storm, and it's churning up dangerous surf and riptides along the U.S. East Coast this morning. The system's already caused plenty of damage in the Caribbean. CBS's Jared Hill.
Red flag warnings on beaches in San Juan as waves from Hurricane Erin crashed against the Puerto Rican coastline Sunday. Swells from the first hurricane of the 2025 Atlantic season knocked over trees, left over 100,000 without power, and sent floodwaters pooling around homes in parts of the U.S. territory.
More than 70% of Air Canada flights are canceled so far this morning after flight attendants walked off their jobs Saturday following months of failed negotiations over wages. It's left thousands of passengers scrambling.
We were supposed to be coming from Vancouver to Toronto for the weekend and then coming back home to Vancouver. But of course, we've been stranded and left here in Toronto.
Many passengers in the U.S. also affected. The airline says customers can request refunds online or in the Air Canada app. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
Right now, it is 6:03. We've got mostly clear skies, 76 degrees in downtown St. Louis. The news is sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman.
There's quite honestly a myriad of emotions.
Today is the first day of school for students across the Missouri side of the bi-state, and the emotion many students might feel is cell phone withdrawal. State law says no more phones in school. Districts who've already done this report hearing the background din of lunchroom chatter has returned. Michael Calhoun with Rockwood School Superintendent Dr. Curtis Kane.
What kind of, cultural and social changes are you kind of expecting from this?
I think everything that you just described, Michael, is what we will see. More conversation. Those soft skills are really important, not just for the world of work, but for life itself.
Last year, he says Rockwood did a scaled down cell phone ban, and he didn't get a single phone call or email from an upset parent.
The first day of school signals new beginnings and experiences, but for thousands of St. Louis public school students, that picture might be a bit murky.
Murky because 3,000 students will not be going to the school that they are used to. Their schools were damaged in the May 16 tornado, and it's not known when they will be repaired. Another challenge, many of these students' families still haven't recovered from the tornado. KMOX talked with AFT Local 420's Byron Clemens about that.
North St. Louis is still recovering. I know some people very well who have property there, and it's really hard. Even in the news, we're pleased from the mayor to get more help from the federal government, perhaps a Corps of Engineers to help speed along the process.
And Clemens is questioning the timing of Superintendent Dr. Millicent Borichetti's announcement that there could be potential school closings, a lot of them.
We want to get ready and excited for the new school year, not talk about school closings.
And another issue, as KMOX reported last week, teachers are now mulling over a no-confidence vote in Borichetti's leadership. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Illinois, meantime, is starting the school year with new proficiency standards that in some subjects are lower than before, but it's not a lowering of expectations. says State Superintendent Dr. Tony Sanders.
The problem in Illinois is one that superintendents and principals and teachers across the state have known for years, that I've known, and that is that we have set cut scores for proficiency on our state assessments that far exceeded what the national experts would have suggested, and we were actually doing so in a way that would mislabel kids as not being college and career ready, and we wanted to fix that.
He says it's obvious there's a disparity when not only are Illinois' proficiency scores the highest around, but 2/3 of students get into college, while the test scores indicate only a 1/3 are proficient.
How are the proficiency policy changes from Springfield impacting school districts in our area? KMOX asked Collinsville Superintendent Dr. Mark Skirtich.
For years, they've tried to rank, file, and punish schools for those scores. But in reality, all of our kids walk into school not at the same level, though, all at varying levels. So making sure that we at least align with neighboring states is important so we get a fair comparison.
The test itself doesn't change, neither will funding formulas or graduation requirements.
Could the big, beautiful bill hurt Missouri's sports gambling rollout?
The changes limit tax write-offs on losses to only 90% of what is gambled starting next year. So gamblers who bet $50,000 and collect $50,000 would normally not pay any income taxes. Now they would pay as if they won $5,000. Ryan Butler with Covers.com tells KMOX this typically would only impact high-volume gamblers, since most gamblers do not wager enough to draw scrutiny from the IRS.
They want to put some money on the Blues. They want to put some money on the Cardinals. They, see something interesting. They're bored on a Thursday. They see the Thursday night Titans-Jaguars game.
Butler says if high-volume bettors go to overseas or unregulated sports books, where Missouri and the rest of the country's gamblers could see an impact, is fewer bets with potentially steeper odds. Sports gambling is set to begin in Missouri on December 1st. Legislation with some bipartisan support to revoke the Big Beautiful Bill's gambling changes has been introduced. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
An Ohio man already charged in federal court in St. Louis for wire fraud was arrested last week and will stay in jail until his trial. 46-year-old Mohammed Babar Chaudhry is accused of stealing more than $15 million worth of groceries and inventory from St. Anne-based Save-A-Lot. He's also accused of pouring concrete into the drains at several Save-A-Lot stores and stealing copper wiring that will cost more than $1 million to replace. Chaudhry owned more than 30 Sunshine stores under the banner of Save-A-Lot. He allegedly ordered millions in inventory, then ordered an employee to lie and say he was out of the country and emptied his accounts. His stores are currently under a court-appointed receivership.
Missouri lawmakers could meet for a special session on redistricting. I'm Scott Jagow. Michael Kelly tells us what it might mean.
That's ahead after traffic and weather at 6:08. I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are visiting with Dr. Premal Thacker, a WashU Medicine gynecologic surgeon at Siteman Cancer Center. Dr. Thacker, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. As we age, sadly, cancer becomes higher on our hit list of things that might occur for us. So it's really important if you have irregular bleeding as a younger woman, that could also be a sign of precancer or cancer as well, because we do see that younger women are also being affected by this. So if you are having any type of irregular bleeding, pelvic pain, discomfort, you really should see your gynecologist. And I think that's the main message, because a lot of women don't continue to seek gynecologic care when they're in their late 40s, 50s, 60s, and don't get their sort of, quote, well woman exams anymore.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, please visit siteman.wustl.edu.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by
Gamma Tree Experts.
Time for us to check in with Frank Ladd, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we just had a call out for a vehicle off the road northbound on Highway 55, south of Highway 67, into the brush. Don't see anything on a camera or any slowdowns in that area, but there could be emergency vehicles responding to that scene south of Highway 67 on northbound 55. North of there, a great run through the Arnold area, headed up towards Highway 270 and through South County and South City, headed towards downtown St. Louis. No problems to report northbound on 270. Headlights and taillights, though, between 5544 and Highway 64. Westbound on Highway 270, not seeing any issues now. Crossing that Chain of Rocks Bridge, headed up towards the Interbelt. Our next traffic update at 6:20. Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg with the latest.
A heat advisory remains in effect through 8 this evening. It'll be very hot and humid again today with sun and some clouds and a high of 97. Those AccuWeather real field temperatures peak over 105. Look for a stray evening thunderstorm, otherwise partly cloudy, warm and muggy tonight, though 76. Tomorrow, not as hot, but still humid with clouds and sun, along with a thunderstorm or two, especially in the afternoon, the high closer to 90. For Wednesday, warm and humid with clouds, some sun, and a thunderstorm in the area, high 86. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Currently, it's mostly clear and 76 degrees downtown at the Arch. Weather sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
It is 6:12. By noon today, we should learn if Texas Democrats who left the state in order to block a vote on a Republican congressional redistricting plan will return for the second special session.
The State House Democrats continued their quorum break Saturday, now into the second called special session by the governor. Outside the state capitol, thousands of Democratic supporters rallied.
This is what democracy looks like.
Former Texas Congressman Beto O'Rourke.
When and if these state legislators return here, let's make sure that we thank them for the fight, for the courage that they have shown.
On Sunday, the Texas Senate rolled out the new congressional maps in committee. They're designed to flip as many as 5 seats to the Republicans. Chris Fox for CBS News, Austin.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker on the Texas standoff.
Just more evidence that this was all a political ploy from the beginning.
Pritzker says he has to wait to see what actually happens.
There's been no movement forward, but as you know, we've left all the options on the table. Our first option, which we took, which was to house and protect the Texas House Democrats.
Pritzker says they will continue to protect the Democrats if they want to stay in Illinois and then see what happens in Texas.
President Trump's push for congressional redistricting to get more Republican seats could be a bad deal for Missouri voters.
That's how KMOX Democratic analyst Michael Kelly sees it. He says instead of keeping the tradition of redrawing maps every 10 years, it could start happening every couple years.
At the whim of the legislature, to try to change the districts to appease their president. It's just long term, it's one of these institutional norms that we seem to be crashing during the Trump presidency that will have long-term consequences.
Currently, Missouri Republicans have a 6-2 advantage in House seats. President Trump wants another one in the GOP's favor. But Kelly says that would not reflect the true makeup of the state's voters. 33% are registered Democrat, another 20% unaffiliated. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
Inflation is making it harder for Americans to afford food. Grocery costs are up 2.2% last month compared to last year, while wholesale prices for fresh vegetables soared by a record amount last month. CBS's Lisa Rosner has more.
Experts say there are ways consumers can save on grocery costs, like buying meat in bulk and freezing it, as well as sticking to store brands instead of name brands.
Shoppers can also opt for whole items. Stores charge to cube watermelon and shred cheese. Shelf-stable foods can also keep overall costs down as inflation ticks up.
A new Bankrate survey out this morning shows that 4 years after the pandemic spike, workers' wages still haven't caught up to inflation.
There's still a gap.
Bankrate analyst Sarah Foster.
Their pay just doesn't go as far as it used to.
The Bankrate analysis finds the gap comes down to prices ahead of wage gains by 1.2 points since early 2021.
The pace at which it's been closing has slowed a lot.
And Sarah tells us the data lead to advice you might not like if you're looking for a raise. Stay put.
Because this is just such a low hire, no fire job market. It's frozen.
Michael Toscano, CBS News, Washington.
Bankrate predicts the gap between wages and inflation will close by the third quarter of 2026.
Let's start with golf. And Scotty Scheffler at the BMW Championship putting on a show. This chip from 82 feet to try to put the tournament away. Essentially it did. And the call on NBC.
Can you believe what you just saw? Bobby Mack can't.
What an incredible player he is. Scotty Scheffler, an 82-footer on the 17th hole for a birdie that all but sealed his 5th victory of the year. Scheffler shot 67 at Caves Valley outside of Baltimore in the BMW Championship. And with that, clinging to a one-shot lead, chipping that in, that sealed it. Shot 67, turned a 4-shot deficit into a 2-shot victory. That's what Scheffler does. Scotty Scheffler, the first player since Tiger Woods to win 5+ times on the PGA Tour in consecutive years. Harry Hall, the only player to move into the top 30 to reach the Tour Championship. It's a playoff, the BMW Championship, and next year it will be at Belle Reef Country Club. In fact, they've already started putting out ticket information for that. You can be among the first to receive information on tickets, hospitality. We are going to have some time at Belle Reef Country Club. Remember how exciting 2018 was with the PGA Championship. The best players in the world are going to be at Belle Reef Country Club for the BMW Championship next year. Some of the best players in the world in the field of baseball were at Busch Stadium yesterday. The Cardinals really don't have many of those. Aaron Judge is one of them. The Yankees have some of the best players, and they put on a little bit of a show yesterday, beating the Cardinals 8-4, but it was partly the Cardinals' doing. The Cardinals just could not get it together, especially in the 9th inning. And I guess these are the growing pains you have to deal with if you're Ollie Marmol and the Cardinals. Cardinals had a 4-3 lead on a Joel Pozo home run using a bat painted by kids at Children's Hospital. It was a special moment that ended up being a tie ball game later and then an unraveling in the 9th inning. The call of the game, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
The pitch to him, and there's a high chopper toward the second baseman. Sajaci gets it, and he throws it away at first base. Caballero's going to make second base. My goodness, that was out number one, but an E4 puts the go-ahead run at second with nobody out. The pitch, a swing and a ground ball to Sajaci off his glove into right field. 2 runs are going to score on to third base.
And 2 errors on Thomas Sajaci in the 9th inning. The Cardinals give up 4 runs in the 9th, and they lose the ball game 8-4, get swept by the Yankees. They visit the Marlins tonight. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Bernie Miklas here for Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. The Saliga family's been taking great care of St. Louis since 1927 and still have the best and most trustworthy customer service in town. Saliga can handle all of your heating and air conditioning needs for home or business. They offer free estimates and financing options, and they won't leave you hanging if there's an emergency. The Miklas family's been calling on Saliga for more than 15 years, and we fully appreciate their knowledge, their class, and their integrity. Saliga's never tried to pressure us. They always take the time to discuss all the available options, including low-cost solutions. Saliga has saved us good money with their Priority Club maintenance program, which extends the life of our equipment. Members receive priority service and the peace of mind in knowing their home will be safe and comfortable during all 4 seasons. The Miklas family truly values Saliga Heating and Cooling, and you will too. For more information, call Saliga at 314-481-7333 or visit SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
You know, many of us are in this unique stage of life. I can totally relate. If you are a member of the sandwich generation, you're taking care of your parents and your kids, or maybe you are looking for help for a loved one or yourself, it's hard sometimes to know where to turn and who to trust. Well, the caregivers at EverTrue Anywhere Care can bring you that peace of mind for you and your family to live at home as independently as possible. Now, you're saying EverTrue. I'm not familiar. Yes, you are, because that's the former Lutheran Senior Services. They've been providing services in this region for 165 years. EverTrue Anywhere Care has been providing at-home options for older adults for nearly 20 years. So if you're looking for orthopedic care, injury rehabilitation services, specialized therapies, physical, occupational, speech, licensed nursing care, maybe just everyday tasks around the house, need some help with meal prep, housekeeping, running errands, professional care management, end-of-life care, bereavement, and so much more. EverTrue Anywhere Care meets people where they are. It's life according to you. You can get more information on EverTrue Anywhere Care by calling 314-597-6498 or online at evertrueanywherecare.org. That's evertrueanywherecare.org.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
And Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, we've got a new accident. It's up in North County, and it's westbound on Highway 270. At least 4 cars involved in this one, and 2 of them are facing the wrong way. Westbound Highway 270 at 170. The emergency vehicles are showing up on the scene. So you're zigzagging around this accident scene now. Looks like the far right shoulder and then the right lane are open, but then you have to zig back into a center lane to get around all 4 of these vehicles that are involved in this crash. And it's westbound 270, just west of the 170 interchange, essentially right at where the flyover ramps are. So use some caution as you're making your way west of the West Florissant area up in North County. Other than that, not a bad start to your morning. Northbound on Highway 270 this morning between 5544 and Highway 64. Similar story coming in from St. Charles County, eastbound on Highway 64, eastbound on Highway 70, making your way east of the Lake St. Louis area, headed towards St. Louis County. We're sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing. And our next traffic update is at 6:30. Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Jerry Kelly can install a new AC tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow, even if we call at 8 tonight.
Wow, that's fast.
They're fast and they're good.
Mathematically, that actually equals got it going on.
Tomorrow.
JerryKelly.com.
Heat advisory through 8 p.m. tonight. Hot and humid, high 97. Real feels over 105, low 76 tonight. Maybe a thunderstorm in spots. Tomorrow, high not far from 90. A thunderstorm or 2 in the afternoon. Right now, it's mostly clear and 76 downtown at the Arch.
It is now 6:23. And Total Information AM continues. School is back in session in many Illinois districts. The State Board of Education just voted to change proficiency standards. Is that lowering the bar? KMOX's Michael Calhoun asked State Superintendent Dr. Tony Sanders.
Yeah, so the problem in Illinois is one that superintendents and principals and teachers across the state have known for years, that I've known. And that is that we have set cut scores for proficiency on our state assessments that far exceeded what the national experts would have suggested, and we were actually doing so in a way that would mislabel kids as not being college and career ready. And we wanted to fix that to make sure that we're not sending the wrong message to kids that they're not ready for the next level and going to college.
Now, I understand. Can you kind of talk about the context of before? Is it that the Illinois standards were higher than other states, and so this is more in line? Or, somebody might take a look at this and go, is Illinois cutting standards? Or can you kind of explain that a little bit more?
Absolutely. I'd be glad to. So first of all, our learning standards here in Illinois remain the same. Learning standards refer to the things that we want kids to know and be able to do by certain grade levels. And our learning standards, what we want kids to know and be able to do, remain the same. Teachers will be teaching the same. We still have high expectations for all of our kids. The difference is we had set cut scores on the statewide assessments to measure how kids are doing relative to those high standards, higher than any other state in the nation. And so what this is doing is just ensuring that we are, again, making sure that we are not misaligned in what we're telling kids. We need to make sure that we're not telling kids that they're not ready for college, when we know that 2/3 of our students end up graduating and going off to college and show success there.
Yeah, that's one of the things that stood out to me is, when you take a look at, I guess, how you could characterize the classes based on the proficiency tests, but then also it would give a different message based on how many are, admitted to college, for instance. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you look at Illinois statistics, again, 2/3 of students end up going to college within a year after graduating from high school, but yet our proficiency rates in English language arts hovered around 38%. And so there's clearly something amiss there, right? And we just wanted to stop the practice of telling kids that they were not ready for college. To give you the real world example, part of our work here is shifting from the SAT assessment in Illinois and reverting back to the ACT. On the SAT test, when the standards or when the cut scores were set, we set a cut score in Illinois that was significantly higher than what the College Board, the actual institution that creates the exam, said is college ready. We went above that. So we knew at the time that it was set then that we were telling kids that they were not college ready when many of them were.
Now, I know there's been a lot of feedback from a bunch of different stakeholders, from teachers to their bargaining units to superintendents and others, researchers. Can you talk more specifically about any kind of Metro East, St. Louis suburban feedback that you received from those school districts about this?
I attended multiple sessions. We had feedback sessions across the state. We had over 1,900 teachers and superintendents and principals come out to different meetings. We did hold one in the Metro East, and I don't recall the specific feedback from that location, but we did do a full statewide listening tour to get feedback on performance level descriptors, further descriptors of what we want kids to know and be able to do, and made sure that we did this in a very transparent, open way.
That is Illinois State Superintendent Dr. Tony Sanders. It is 6:27. That time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. If you or anyone in your family has been injured in a car accident, call us now, as the time to file a claim may be limited. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before, protecting America, fighting for you. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Dive into adventure this summer at the St. Louis Aquarium's Summer of the Shark. Get face to fin with some of the ocean's most awe-inspiring creatures in shark-themed exhibits, jaw-dropping displays, and interactive experiences for the whole family. Whether you're a fin-tastic fan or just curious, there's hands-on fun and fascinating facts around every corner at the St. Louis Aquarium. Don't miss your chance to make a splash. Plan your visit today at stlouisunionstation.com. That's stlouisunionstation.com.
Upgrade your family vacation with an unforgettable escape to the Palm Beaches. From outdoor adventures and laid-back beaches to thrilling family attractions and animal encounters, the Palm Beaches have something for everyone. Discover premier resorts with creative kids clubs that will keep the little ones entertained while you enjoy world-class golf and spas. We are the original, the one, the only, the Palm Beaches. Plan your trip at thepalmbeaches.com.
It is 6:30. We've got clear skies. It's 76 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Here's Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, crews are still on the scene of this accident up in North County. It's westbound on Highway 270 at 170, right underneath the flyover ramps. Looks like they've gotten one of the vehicles out of the way that had been straddling a pair of left lanes. The good news is that one's out of the way. The bad news is still only the right shoulder is squeezing by this accident, as there's still 1, 2, 3 vehicles on the scene, as well as emergency vehicles there making your way. So it's a tough squeeze as you zigzag around all the emergency vehicles and the accident debris. So you're on the brakes now, westbound on Highway 270 up in North County, west of Washington Elizabeth, headed up towards the Interbelts. Our next traffic update at 6:40, Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be a little hot today, but the good news is that our heat advisory ends at 8. So today, sunshine, some clouds, very hot and humid, a high of 97 degrees. It's going to feel like it's 105. And then we have a thunderstorm in spots tonight. And fortunately, while it'll be sticky, it's going to cool things off for tomorrow. So our high will be near 90. So that should feel much better. We'll be in the upper 80s for the rest of the week. But right now, we've got mostly clear skies, 76 degrees.
It's 6:32. The St. Charles City Council is expected to vote tomorrow night on a secretive plan for a massive data center. The meeting will be held at the convention center because so many residents are expected to show up. The project needs 7 out of 10 votes to move forward. Hundreds of residents attended an open house last week hoping to learn more. What they learned is that a number of city officials signed non-disclosure agreements which prevented them from answering questions.
According to KSDK, representatives from engineering firm Kimberly Horn at the Water Infrastructure and Supply table couldn't disclose how much water the data center would use. Ameren couldn't say how much power the data center would use, but assured people the grid could handle it.
The reward has gone up in the Clayton hate crime investigation.
You about the joint $30,000 reward being offered by the Anti-Defamation League and Jewish Federation of St. Louis. Now the reward is going up to $42,000, with additional money coming in from the Jewish National Defense Network and Crime Stoppers. The reward is being offered for information that leads to an arrest and conviction of those responsible for torching 3 cars and scrawling anti-Semitic graffiti on the street back in August 5th. Clayton police are asking residents and businesses in that area to check their security cameras, doorbell cameras, and any dash cams for any footage from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. on the morning of the fires, as it may be crucial to solving the case. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
The Salvation Army has listed its Midland Division headquarters on Hampton for sale as a way to gauge market interest and assess the value of the 2 buildings. One of those buildings was built for KMOX before the station moved downtown by the Arch in the 1960s. The Salvation Army is looking for new office space, saying their current location is functionally obsolete and would require significant upgrades. Current asking price, according to the Business Journal, is just over $5 million.
I'm Maria Kino. We've done reporting on the skyrocketing electric bills on both sides of the river. Now Governor Pritzker is responding.
That's after your money report, which is coming up next at 6:34.
Hello, fellow Missourians. This is your Congressman Bob Onder. My top priority is serving you. Whether you need help with a VA claim, Social Security, Medicare, or any other federal issue, my team and I are here to cut through the red tape and give you answers. In the last 6 months alone, we have returned over $1 million to taxpayers. Call my office or visit my website, onder.house.gov, to learn more. Missouri is my home, and I'm honored to serve you in D.C.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Universal Windows Direct. We have all definitely been feeling the heat this summer, and if your home isn't staying cool, your windows could be the reason why. You can blast the AC all day long, but if your windows aren't doing their job, all that cool air is going out the window, literally. Never a better time to buy. Buy 2 windows, get 2 for free, and there's no limit and no interest for 5 whole years. That's 60 months of zero interest financing. Call 314-334-2522 or go to universalwindowsdirect.com.
It is 6:35, time for your money report. It is sponsored for you by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. We get the latest from Bloomberg's Kimberly Adams.
Good morning. Air Canada flights remain grounded by a flight attendants strike despite a back-to-work order from the government. The Canadian Labour Minister sought to force an end to the walkout and impose binding arbitration to reach a new contract. The union defied the order. It's not clear yet how the order will be enforced. The White House trade advisor has harsh words for India, which continues to buy oil from Russia. Writing in the Financial Times, Peter Navarro says India increased its purchases of Russian oil since the invasion of Ukraine. He calls the purchases opportunistic and deeply corrosive of global efforts to isolate the Kremlin. And there's mixed news for workers in Bankrate's annual wage to inflation index. Wages still haven't caught up with the huge pandemic-era inflation spike that sapped consumers' buying power, but the situation is improving. The gap between inflation and workers' pay has narrowed to just over 1%. At its peak in early 2022, the shortfall was nearly 5%. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Ooh, ma.
What was that?
That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
What's the sound of your business losing money? Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. OpenPhone gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. OpenPhone lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you and your team can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? OpenPhone automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With OpenPhone's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions, and use those insights to coach your team and level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with OpenPhone. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try OpenPhone for free at openphone.com/try and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/try. Openphone.com/TRY.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
Viking, dedicated to creating travel experiences for the thinking person, with programs designed for cultural enrichment on board and on shore. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com. Viking.com.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Seitzman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's 6:39. This news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. KMOX has a follow-up on the exorbitant electric bills customers are receiving on both sides of the river. As our Maria Kina reports, Illinois' governor is addressing the issue.
Pritzker says right now, Illinois produces more power than what they need. However, he attributes the high bills to PJM. That's a regional transmission organization that is part of the Eastern Interconnection Grid, operating an electric transmission system serving 11 states, the District of Columbia, and Illinois.
I happen to think it's because there are some people on the PJM board who are in the fossil fuel industry and think it's okay for us to hold back the solar and wind projects in order to advance the cause of fossil fuel. But there are other reasons I'm sure they're taking into account.
Pritzker says he believes Illinois and the entire country should be producing more electricity, and he adds he's advancing that cause. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
It is 6:40 and time for us to check traffic and weather. Here is Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Debbie, still watching this crash up in North County, westbound Highway 270 at 170. It had just been the right shoulder getting by. Now it's just the left lane getting by. So make your way to the left as you head towards 170 on westbound Highway 270. A pair of flatbeds are on the scene, so that's the good news. They're going to get these cars out of the way hopefully pretty quickly, but you're backed up to about Washington Elizabeth now, headed westbound on Highway 270 up in North County. Also a pocket of volume into that construction zone westbound on Highway 70 in the Metro East from about 111, headed towards the merge with Highway 64 west of there into downtown St. Louis. No problems to report. Westbound Highway 70 crossing the Musial. Westbound Highway 64 crossing the Poplar Street Bridge looks good as well. Northbound 55 is the only other slow spot, and it's just headed into that work zone right at the city-county line headed north near Loughborough. We're sponsored by the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm, and our next traffic update is at 6:50. I'm Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
6:41, AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg, a little toasty at the bus stop for the first day of school.
Back to school on a day like today is just kind of unimaginable, but it's such as it is. It is in the upper 70s to near 80 now. We're headed to 97 this afternoon with sunshine and some clouds. Back to school day is going to be a toasty one. Hottest day of the week, too. Real feels over 105. We still have that heat advisory through 8 this evening. Could be a stray afternoon or evening thunderstorm, mainly in the north and west suburbs. Partly cloudy, muggy tonight, mid-70s. Not going to be as hot tomorrow with a few more clouds around and a risk for a thunderstorm at almost any time. Our high tomorrow closer to 90. Clouds, some sun, warm and humid Wednesday, our high 86 with a thunderstorm in the area. Looks like it dries out for Thursday and Friday with more sun, and we start heating it up a little bit. 87 Thursday, approaching 90 on Friday. 77 in St. Peter, 79 at Florissant, mainly clear, and 81 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
It's 6:42. A horror movie is still on top at the box office.
For a second weekend in a row, Weapons scares its way to the top of the box office.
I just want to say how very sorry I am.
It beat out Freakier Friday for a second time, as well as the newcomer action movie Nobody 2. Weapons, which stars Julia Gardner and Josh Brolin, took in $25 million. Second place's Freakier Friday took in $14.5 million. Nobody 2 with $9 million. Matt Piper, CBS News.
A former late-night talk show host has put in his 2 cents on the future of the format and Stephen Colbert's fate.
Late-night television, as we have known it since around 1950, is going to disappear.
Conan O'Brien gave his prediction during a speech at the Television Academy Hall of Fame ceremony.
Stephen is going to evolve and shine brighter than ever in a new format that he controls completely.
Perhaps a la Conan, who moved on from his TBS show in 2021 to host a podcast and star in an HBO Max travel show. Last month, Colbert announced CBS was canceling The Late Show in May. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
The federal law dubbed the Big Beautiful Bill could have an unexpected impact on Missouri's upcoming sports gambling launch. The legislation limits gambling write-offs to 90%, which means gamblers who break even or lose money could still be taxed on their winnings. Ryan Butler with Cover.com tells KMOX this won't typically impact most potential gamblers in the Show Me State.
In Missouri specifically, it impacts a small subset of gamblers. But again, nationwide, if there is fewer people gambling, if they feel taxed out of it, if they feel that there's consequences for it, if they leave the market, that then the legal market, that then hurts everybody down the stream.
Bipartisan legislation is already in the works to reverse the change. Missouri is set to launch sports gambling on December 1st, with officials projecting it will bring in $100 million in annual tax revenue.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Snoop.
Try to get it.
Well, people are not feeling any more generous when it comes to tipping. 2/3, 66% of Americans think expectations for tipping have grown in recent years. A new CBS YouGov poll finds 39% of us see tipping as a way to show appreciation, but 19% see it as an added charge. Despite all those cute drop it like it's hot sayings left on tip jars, more than half of those polled said the expectation of having to leave a tip was a bad thing since prices have gone up.
Okay,
And
I agree
when they're
with some of
just
that.
like ringing up something, why do I have to tip you for ringing something up? What did you do?
Yeah, I totally get that. I think that tipping your server is very important. I think tipping is important. Now, in other countries, I know this because we were told when we went to Italy a few summers, it was our first time a few summers ago. They said, don't tip them because
Yeah, you don't tip
they
in
see it
many
as
countries.
disrespectful.
Mhm.
Not disrespectful, but like, oh, you got extra money, like they don't look at it the way we look at it in America, where tipping, I think, is welcomed.
Yes. But a lot of employers lately now see it as a way that they don't have to increase their employees' wages. You have to pay it. And I'm like,
It is interesting the way we tip and are asked to tip today at 6:46. Cardinals lost 8-4 to the Yankees yesterday. Who's hot, who's not? Sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Order online for delivery or pick up premium soil compost and mulch at any of their 9 locations. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories. Cardinals have lost 5 in a row. That would qualify as not. They got swept by the Yankees, really overmatched, shorthanded, don't have a lot of stars in the lineup. Contreras out, Donovan out, Arenado out. Cardinals take on the Marlins tonight. The future, though, is bright if you ask John Mozeliak. The Cardinals president of baseball operations is about out of time as the president. He will relinquish that title to Chaim Bloom at the end of the season. But he says about the next era.
Well, I think the org as a whole is in a pretty good spot. Obviously, I think when you look back over the last 5 or 6 years, we just haven't really hit consistently on the pitching side of things. But I do think this year and this year's draft, we were able to, take some shots on some arms that normally we don't have opportunities to get. So that I think is going to be a big help for the Cardinals moving forward. Obviously, J.J. Weatherholt is an exciting young player that has an enormously bright future. So you combine all of that, and you can see why people are excited about what's going to happen for the Cardinals. So, when you say what I hope for to see, I hope to see that, we can continue what we've really done over the last 30 years. I mean, there have been a few blips in the radar for sure, but, I think with this ownership and what we have coming in the pipeline, it has a bright future.
Coming up next, I asked Mozeliak about J.J. Weatherholt and why not call him up right now. He is on a tear at AAA Memphis. He answers that question. Scotty Scheffler is on a tear. He has won 5 PGA Tour events in consecutive years. The last person to do that was Tiger Woods. Scheffler won the BMW Championship yesterday, and a lot of flair in that. He came back from 4 shots down and won it by 2 shots. The shot of the tournament was a chip in from 82 feet on the 17th hole to beat Robert McIntyre. Scotty Scheffler wins the BMW Championship outside of Baltimore. Next stop, St. Louis, Bell Reef Country Club next year for the BMW Championship. St. Louis Composting is a great place. It's actually 9 different places in the St. Louis area, 9 different locations for St. Louis Composting. It's mulch, it's soil, it's compost, it's transforming organic yard waste like branches, leaves, grass clippings, and more into premium compost. Enjoy your outdoor space with fresh landscaping, maybe a vegetable garden. If you're looking for bulk compost or just a few bags, maybe some of that Missouri Botanical Garden soil that they're selling as well, St. Louis Composting has it all. An extensive selection at stlcompost.com. You can back your truck or trailer up to any of their 9 facilities in St. Louis, and they'll load you up, or just do what we did, have it delivered to your home. They'll bring it right to you. stlcompost.com. stlcompost.com.
Rolling hot dogs 2 for $5 on a fluffy bun. All beef hot dogs rolling in. Hurry, cause they're on the run. Pick your toppings anyway. Roll into this deal. Pick your 2, big Q2. Roll and mix a meal. Mustard relish, sauerkraut. Ain't no need to scream and shout. Get 2 all beef hot dogs and a big Q for $5. Only at QT. More than a gas station.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
All right, it's 6:50, and it looks like a really nice morning out. We have a hot day in store, but some relief on the way. Details on that coming up after we check in with Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Debbie, drivers are on the brakes now west of the Halls Ferries, now on westbound Highway 270 up to this accident scene at 170. Still just the left lane squeezing by. Looks like they've got one of the vehicles loaded up on a flatbed, still working on this other vehicle that had been blocking several lanes. So it's a pretty sizable accident scene, and it's westbound on Highway 270 at 170. Other than that, you got a little bit of volume headed into downtown St. Louis, westbound on Highway 70 from 111 in pockets through that road work headed towards the merge with Highway 64. Not bad up in down in South County, northbound on Highway 270, north of Highway 44, and making your way up towards Manchester Road, north of Manchester. Some pockets headed up towards Highway 64. This update sponsored by FanDuel Sports Network. Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your TV and streaming home of the Cardinals. Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network and stream the Cardinals or watch through your TV provider. Visit FanDuelSportsNetwork.com for details. Our next traffic update at 6:58. Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Heat advisory through 8 o'clock tonight. Sunshine and some clouds, hot and humid, high 97. Will feel like 105. Partly cloudy, warm and sticky tonight. A thunderstorm in spots this evening, low 76. Some thunderstorms around tomorrow afternoon. Otherwise, sun and clouds, not as hot. High just around 90. Wednesday, Thursday, mid-80s for the high. It'll feel a little bit better than it has over the past few days. But today's a hot one. Right now, it's sunny and 76 downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:52 as Total Information AM continues. The world is watching as President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky meet to discuss peace options with Russia. Zelensky has an entourage of European leaders accompanying him. This comes days after Trump met with Putin in Alaska. Here's CBS's Jared Hill.
Earlier push for a short-term ceasefire to foster negotiations, instead suggesting they go directly to a peace agreement. Zelensky disagrees.
It's impossible to do this under the pressure of weapons. So it's necessary to cease fire.
White House officials say the group today is expected to discuss solutions regarding territory taken by Russian forces. Yesterday, Zelensky said that issue should only be discussed with Ukraine, Russia, and the U.S. all at the table.
I'm Vicky Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. President Zelensky will have a human shield around him when he walks into his White House meeting with President Trump today. European leaders hoping to prevent the kind of shouting match that marred the Ukrainian president's last visit, and also hoping to encourage Trump to take a tougher stance with Russian President Putin.
Also in the news this morning, Bolivia is heading to a presidential runoff after nearly 2 decades of far-left dominance.
Bolivia's presidential vote is headed to an unprecedented runoff after Sunday's elections. It ends nearly 20 years of dominance in the country by the leftist party Movimiento al Socialismo. Early results showed centrist Senator Rodrigo Paz drew more votes than the right-wing frontrunners, but not enough to secure an outright victory. With over 91% of the ballots counted, Paz received 32.8% of the votes cast, while former President Jorge Tuto Quiroga finished second with 26.4%. Candidates need to surpass 50% or 40% with a 10-point margin of victory to avoid a runoff. Bolivia is seeking change. It is seeking renewal, Paz declared to cheering crowds before chanting, "Long live Bolivia." The former mayor will face off against right-wing Quiroga on October 19. I'm Lawrence Brooks.
Rumors spreading on social media claim that the government will soon be issuing stimulus checks to taxpayers in certain income brackets, but that's only wishful thinking. Congress has not passed any legislation to authorize such payments. The IRS says no new stimulus checks will be distributed in the coming weeks. Senator Josh Hawley introduced last month a bill that would send tax rebates to qualified taxpayers using revenue from tariffs instituted by President Trump. Hawley's bill has not passed either the Senate or the House.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
All things merge into one, and a river runs through it.
Robert Redford, 89 today. This is Actor Day among the birthdays. Christian Slater.
We're not working together because you refuse to talk to me.
He's 56. Also 56.
I'd be very, very careful who you talk to about that, because the person who wrote that is dangerous.
A lot of people think I look like him. I don't know why. Edward Norton.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, no, I don't see that.
I don't see that at all. He's 56 today. Let's do one more. This is... He's pretty funny, actually. Andy Samberg is 47.
If you have a birthday or anniversary you'd like announced, the email address is totalam@kmox.com. Totalam@kmox.com. The birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door. RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated. RennerDoorSTL.com. Happy birthday wishes to Pam Jenkins. Happy 64th wedding anniversary, Shirley and Paul Cleary. Happy 61st, Angie Bueller Brauhaus. Also, Nancy Donnell and John Hilsheim from the Life Group. And happy birthday, Luna Spring from your St. Louis family.
This is the best birthday ever.
Energy security isn't a slogan, it's a necessity. American-made energy means we call the shots instead of depending on foreign sources to fill our tanks. Made here in America, ethanol keeps gas prices lower at the pump. It's reliable, creates jobs, and strengthens farming communities. Tell Congress to support nationwide year-round access to E15, a lower-cost fuel made with 15% ethanol, because American-made energy should come first. Paid for by the Renewable Fuels Association.
The largest moving piece of equipment in your home is your garage door. And when it needs help, you need to call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. It's Tom Ackerman for Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, certified technicians repairing all brands of doors and openers. That's Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. You can even schedule evening and weekend service because, a lot of us are working during the day. Well, they'll work for you in the evening and on the weekend. Just call 314-781-5200. 314-781-5200 for Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. And always look for the red ribbon. That is your assurance that you have the genuine, the original Overhead Door, the most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. Remember, same-day service. Schedule online, overheaddoorstlouis.com, or that phone number is 314-781-5200.
There's been a lot of talk about tariffs, how it's going to do this and it's going to destroy the economy. Prices are going to go up. Depending where you get your news from or your information from, it's going to make everything unaffordable and so on and so forth. Tariffs have absolutely zero effect on the heating and cooling equipment that we purchase. So don't be misled and fooled that if you're told that you have to buy something now because of tariffs, call me. That's the nicest thing I can say. Call me for a second opinion. Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. There's only one. If you do not dial this number, it will be the wrong number. It is area code 314-293-2600. Again, easiest number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600, or on the computer, bartinman.com. Remember, 0% financing is available for most up to 60 months. Fantastic.
Time to check in with Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Debbie, still dealing with the accident up in North County. It's westbound 270 at the Interbelt, still just the left lane getting by, and you're still backed up all the way up to just west of the Halls Ferries. And a new accident as well, eastbound Highway 30 at Highway PP over on the right shoulder involving a motorcycle. Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
I'm Maria Kina with the changes facing St. Louis public school students and their families.
A $42,000 reward is being offered for information that leads to an arrest in the Clayton hate crime investigation. I'm Stuart McMillan with that story.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Very hot and humid today with sun and some clouds, the high 97.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Days after his summit with Vladimir Putin failed to yield a ceasefire agreement, President Trump meets with Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders at the White House. Correspondent Nancy Cordes is there.
Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, who was in the Putin meeting on Friday, said the group will be discussing what to do about the 20% of Ukrainian territory that Russian troops currently control. Zelensky and other European leaders are reluctant to concede anything before Russia stops the killing. But President Trump seems to now be siding with Putin, who says a ceasefire is unnecessary.
More National Guard troops are headed to the streets of Washington, D.C. 3 Republican-led states are contributing to the president's push. Correspondent Scott McFarland.
The governors of West Virginia, Ohio, and South Carolina say they're sending troops to join the military presence that's already on the ground here. The governor of West Virginia is sending 300 to 400 troops, he says, to help restore cleanliness and safety to the nation's capital.
Right now, Guard members are not carrying guns in D.C., but a White House spokesperson tells CBS News that could change in the days ahead. House Democrats in Texas begin making their way back to the state amid a redistricting plan to add 5 Republican lawmakers. Representatives in California are responding with their own plan to add 5 Democratic seats. CBS News Sacramento's political analyst Gary Dietrich.
Quite literally, this is for all the marbles when it comes to control of Congress, because of the razor-thin majority by Republicans. The hope by Democrats is to stave off an opportunity to increase that margin next year and actually retake control of the House, and as they say it, put a stop to the Trump presidency.
2 American cruise ship passengers have drowned at a resort in the Bahamas. CBS's Vicki Barker is at the foreign desk.
The victims, both Americans in their 70s, were traveling on 2 different Carnival Line cruise ships. They drowned in separate incidents on the same day while visiting Celebration Key, a $600 million resort opened by Carnival Cruise Line earlier this summer.
Hurricane Erin is back up to a powerful Category 4, and the system's already begun stirring up dangerous surf and rip currents along U.S. mainland beaches. WNCN meteorologist Rachel Dwensing from Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina.
It will be a Category 4 hurricane over the next day or so, eventually starting to weaken ever so slightly as it gets closer to our coast.
Erin is still pounding the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, where power is out to tens of thousands of people. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products in next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
New study. It is 7:04, and today is Monday, August 18th. We've got clear skies at 77 degrees. The news sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. It's a day of emotion, the first day of school.
It is always fun to see. It's one of the best days of the school year.
Rockwood School Superintendent Dr. Curtis Kane tells KMOX that practically every district on the Missouri part of the metro area is focused on complying with the new state-mandated cell phone ban. Rockwood, he says, did a test of this last year.
What's going to be different moving forward is this notion of literally from bell to bell that the cell phone is not to be seen or heard throughout the day. And that is different from what we were doing last year. I think we're going to have to provide students some short-term grace and a lot of reminding of what the expectation, in this case, now state law, happens to be.
Today is the first day of classes for St. Louis public schools, and while that brings excitement for new beginnings, also some concern because of many changes.
And they are changes students and parents are apprehensive about. For some 3,000 students, they are going to a different school because of the May 16th tornado. There are 7 schools damaged. Ashland Elementary will be at Jefferson Elementary, Hickey Elementary at Waldbridge, Washington Montessori at Ames, Yateman Middle at Gateway, Soldan at Gateway STEM High, Sumner and Fresh Start programs and Beaumont will all be at Clyde C. Miller. AFT Local 420's Byron Clemens says now Superintendent Millicent Borichetti is talking about completely closing 37 schools.
After the trauma of the tornado and everything we've gone through in a few schools that are being repaired over that, we didn't think that was a good start to the school year.
And as KMOX first reported last week, St. Louis public school teachers are close to casting a vote of no confidence in the superintendent. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Many Illinois districts are already back in class, but is the bar for them to clear lowered? Illinois State Board of Education members voted last week to change the cut scores that measure whether students are proficient in several subjects. KMOX's Michael Calhoun asked State Superintendent Tony Sanders.
You know, somebody might take a look at this and go, is Illinois cutting standards, or can you kind of explain that a little bit more?
Absolutely. I'd be glad to. So first of all, our learning standards here in Illinois remain the same. Learning standards refer to the things that we want kids to know and be able to do by certain grade levels. Teachers will be teaching the same. We still have high expectations for all of our kids. The difference is we had set cut scores on the statewide assessments to measure how kids are doing relative to those high standards, higher than any other state in the nation.
Sanders says the proficiency rates showed only 1/3 of students were meeting the bar, but 2/3 were getting into college. Plus, not all of the categories were lowered. Illinois raised science proficiency levels also to be in line nationally.
Metro East school districts seem to be supportive of the state changing standards, which have been criticized for some time.
It made it look as if Illinois wasn't performing at the same level, when in fact, in many cases, we may have been performing at the same level or higher. So it's always good to see that our cut scores align in ELA and math as well, and on the science assessment with neighboring states. So you're truly getting an accurate comparison.
Collinsville Superintendent Dr. Mark Skirtich tells KMOX he's seen a series of education changes from the state lately, which he calls, quote, realistic and relevant to what happens in schools, and they've listened to the field to make those changes.
The Big Beautiful Bill has made massive changes to gambling and taxes. Could this impact Missouri sports gambling rollout this winter?
The changes limit write-offs on money wagering to only 90%. So a gambler who broke even by betting $50,000 and winning $50,000 would owe taxes on $5,000 of income instead of owing nothing. Ryan Butler, the senior news analyst with Covers.com, tells KMOX most casual gamblers don't report their itemized wagering to the IRS and don't wager enough to draw their attention. He says the impact Missourians will feel could be the bets available to them.
If those gamblers are betting less, if they're betting with those offshores, these
illegal books that don't pay taxes, if they're just leaving entirely, it then has a ramification that could impact everything else.
Legislation is in the works at the federal level to undo the Big Beautiful Bill's changes to gambling. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
We'll check sports in 7 minutes. Traffic and weather next at 7:08.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res Carpet Cleaning. So this is August, and that is Pet Appreciation Month for Zero Res. We love our pets. I love my pets. They are a part of the family, no doubt about it. But the rest of my family doesn't poop and pee on the carpeting. Well, Nick sometimes. So if you're having that same sort of trouble with your pets that I do, just reach out to Zero Res, because the deal this month is 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129, 15% off your pet odor treatments, and $50 off your air duct cleaning. They are going to be on time. They're going to be accurate with their bids. They are going to be compassionate. They're going to be professional. They're going to work their tails off, and they have the 30-day gotta love it guarantee, which means if they don't blow you away, have them back. 314-474-2020, or you can also book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
This is Tom Becker with Climate Masters. We don't just sell air conditioners, we sell comfort. We sell solutions. We sell a job well done, and we fix bad jobs. Climate Masters, because you need someone you can trust, someone who earns your respect and 5-star reviews. Climate Masters, selling high-quality Carrier air conditioners. Turn to the experts. Climate Masters, quality work for over 40 years. Just type in Climate Masters and give us a call.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are visiting with Dr. Premal Thacker.
I think the key is recognizing symptoms and not ignoring them to say, oh, I think that's going to go away. So I highly encourage anyone who's listening, if they're having abnormal bleeding or hasn't seen their gynecologist in a while, to really make that appointment to ensure that you're getting the best health.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, please visit siteman.wustl.edu.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 7:10 and time for us to get a check of the roadways as we start this brand new week and you're heading off to work or school. Roger Brand has the day off. We've got Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Debbie, and I've got good news. They cleared that accident out of the way. All lanes back open westbound on Highway 270 at 170. So those delays should be easing rather quickly. At last check, we were back to about Washington Elizabeth. Still seeing slow going in that stretch there on the camera, but it opens up rather quickly headed towards the Interbelt on westbound Highway 270 up in North County. Into downtown St. Louis, essentially delay-free westbound on Highway 64 now up to and crossing the Poplar Street Bridge. You have that slowdown in the work zone. Westbound on Highway 70, west of 111, headed up towards Illinois 203. West of there, not seeing any issues crossing the Musel Veterans Bridge. Northbound on 270 looks good so far this morning. 55 through Highway 44. The only off the pace stretch is that stretch north of Highway of Manchester Road, I should say, up to the Clayton Road overpass, mainly those right lanes on northbound 270. Coming in from out west, eastbound Highway 64, eastbound Highway 70, both delay free coming in from the Lake St. Louis area in Wentzville, headed towards St. Louis County. Our next traffic update at 7:20. I'm Frank Ladd of the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather heat advisory until 8 this evening. Sun and some clouds today. Very hot and humid again. High 97 with AccuWeather real field temperatures over 105. There can be a thunderstorm in the area this evening. Partly cloudy, warm and sticky tonight, though 76. Tomorrow, times of sun and clouds and not as hot, but still humid with a thunderstorm or two, especially in the afternoon. The high closer to 90. For Wednesday, more clouds than sun, warm and humid. Look for a thunderstorm, high 86. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 77 in Florissant, 77 in St. Peter's, sunny, and 77 downtown at the Arch.
It is now 7:12, and the St. Charles City Council is expected to vote tomorrow night on a secretive plan for a massive data center. The meeting will be held at the convention center because so many residents are expected to show up. The project needs 7 out of 10 votes to move forward. Hundreds of residents attended an open house last week hoping to learn more. What they learned is a number of city officials signed non-disclosure agreements which prevented them from answering questions.
According to KSDK, reps from engineering firm Kimberly Horn at the Water Infrastructure and Supply table couldn't disclose how much water the data center will use Ameren couldn't say how much power it would use, but assured people the grid could handle it.
Out now, a new survey from Bankrate suggesting workers still haven't regained all of the purchasing power lost during the pandemic. While the gap between wages and inflation appears to be narrowing, Bankrate projects it won't close for about another year. Here's Bankrate analyst Sarah Foster.
Even though wages have been rising at a faster pace than inflation for the past couple of years, this look really reveals that there's still some loss of purchasing power that many Americans are experiencing.
Grocery costs are up 2.2% last month compared to last year, while wholesale prices for fresh vegetables soared by a record amount last month. CBS's Lisa Rosner.
Everyday staples saw significant cost increases in the last year.
$7 for 3 ears of corn.
My budget has become double.
It wasn't supposed to happen.
A vote for Trump means your groceries will be cheaper.
Ricky Volpe is a professor of agribusiness at California Polytechnic State University.
Food prices rise quickly as a result of upstream costs, and that could be any number of things: commodity prices, energy, labor, regulation, but they come down slowly, if at all.
An Ohio man already charged in federal court in St. Louis for wire fraud was arrested last week and will stay in jail until his trial. 46-year-old Mohammed Babar Chaudhry is accused of stealing more than $15 million worth of groceries and inventory from St. Anne-based Save-A-Lot. He's also accused of pouring concrete into the drains at several Save-A-Lot stores and stealing copper wiring that will cost more than $1 million to replace. Chaudhry owned more than 30 Sunshine stores under the banner of Save-A-Lot. He allegedly ordered millions in inventory, then ordered an employee to lie and say he was out of the country and emptied his accounts. His stores are currently under a court-appointed receivership.
Well, St. Louis is officially on the clock for the BMW Championship. It will host it next summer at Bellerive Country Club. The tournament is in the books outside of Baltimore, and your defending champion coming to St. Louis next year is Scotty Scheffler, number one player in the world. He won the tournament yesterday, made an 82-foot chip on 17 to seal it, shot a 67, turned a 4-shot deficit into a 2-shot win. He is something else. 5 PGA Tour victories in consecutive years. The only person to do that the last time it happened, Tiger Woods. Scotty Scheffler is in rare territory right now. Now to baseball.
With Ricky Horton, I'm John Rooney, and what a rough weekend at Busch Stadium for the Cardinals, dropping all 3 games to the Yankees. Thomas Saggese had a 2-for-4 game going with a 2 RBI double, and then the game turned on him in the 9th inning as he committed 2 errors, helping lead to a 4-run Yankee 9th and an 8-4 win over the Cardinals.
All of those runs were unearned, charged to JoJo Romero, who's trying to close out the 9th inning. The Cardinals didn't get anything in the bottom half. Really a close game up until that 9th inning. The Cardinals were battling the Yankees. Defense absolutely matters, and it hurt the Cardinals in the 9th.
Well, Caballero, a very speedy runner, got on a throwing error by Saggese on a chopper leading off the 9th, made it to second on the air, advanced on a pass ball, a couple of walks, and then another ball that went off Saggese's glove. The Yankees had the game in hand.
A good day for Paul Goldschmidt on the other side, and Joel Pozo hit a home run, which at the time was a big blow.
The Cardinals are in Miami tonight and will be on the air at 4:45 Central.
Let's go to our player to bank on, sponsored by Community America Credit Union, invested in you. It is the Cardinals' number one prospect, J.J. Weatherholt. He has been on fire. 9 home runs in 26 games for AAA Memphis, 16 home runs in the minor leagues this year overall. President of Baseball Operations, John Mozeliak, on Sports on a Sunday Morning. Weatherholt is special, isn't he? Man, oh man. I mean, there's a temptation, I think, from a lot of people to bring him up here and see him. Why not do that now?
Well, it's really about the future, and ultimately just trying to keep your best players for as long as possible. I understand the temptation. Candidly, I'm probably tempted too, but I think ultimately this cannot be my sole decision, just given the fact that I am not here next year. And again, I feel like where the Cardinals are at, it's a lot of exciting things going on, and you want to try to do what's right for everyone.
That was KMOX's Sports on a Sunday Morning. Full conversation with John Mozeliak on our Sports on a Sunday Morning podcast page at KMOX.com. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Tomorrow, some of us will wake up and it will be our last day on this earth.
It will be unexpected and without warning. Each year, 250,000 people will die from medical malpractice, the third leading cause of death in America. 43,000 will die in a car or truck crash. 6,000 will die working on the job. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, and we represent many of these families. It's awful. Unfortunately, many times some of these family members are not speaking and never get to say, I'm sorry or goodbye. If you're at odds with a loved one, listen closely. Pick up the phone. Call them. Say you're sorry. I promise a huge burden will be lifted from your heart and your soul will be renewed. Even if you're not wrong in your own mind, it doesn't matter. Death is bad enough. Death without closure and love will follow you the rest of your days. Trust me on this. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Debbie Monterey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Coming up on 720, it's Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got just a few little slowdowns out there. No major issues. They've cleared that accident westbound 270 up in North County at 170. The only pocket of volume remaining there is at West Florissant. Get a little of a hesitation slowdown there. West of there, pretty good run towards 170 on 270. Northbound on Highway 55 at Weber Road, headed into the work zone. North of there, a great run through South City, headed towards downtown St. Louis. Northbound Highway 270, a little off the pace now between Doherty Ferry and Manchester, as well as all the way up through to Highway 64. Eastbound on Highway 64 looks good now. Coming in from Lake St. Louis, passing Highway 94 through that road construction, crossing the Boone Bridge, up through Chesterfield Valley, headed towards Highway 270. Into downtown St. Louis, the delays are there westbound on Highway 70, west of 111, headed towards 203. West of there, not bad. Into downtown St. Louis, crossing the Musial or the Poplar Street Bridge on westbound 70 and westbound Highway 5564. Our next traffic update at 7:30. Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is weather-wise going to get better. We just have to get through today. Today will be hot, and the heat advisory extends through 8 tonight. We're looking at sunshine, humid, 97 degrees. It'll feel like 105. Then we have a thunderstorm in spots tonight. So it'll be sticky, but it's going to take the temperatures down near 90 tomorrow and then upper 80s for the rest of the week. Right now, we've got sunshine and 77 degrees downtown.
Weather sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
It is now 7:21. St. Louis City Police Chief Robert Tracy was on sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX, where Tom asked the chief about safety concerns of fans who come to watch the Cardinals, Blues, Battlehawks, and City SC.
Yeah, and as any sporting event, and as we go over things that are going to be happening, we put additional resources out there. We use overtime, this thing called secondary, and it helps supplement the district offices and our special operations unit. So we got to make sure where the events are happening, if they're overlapping with each other, where the routes are, and especially one of the biggest things going to sporting events, not just here, but other cities, is your car safe? Because things happen, and that could really ruin a good day. You come out, and we want to make sure that people, please don't bring your guns downtown and leave them in a car, because that's what they're looking for. And we've really did a great job of getting that message out, working with the teams, working with the security, working with our officers, that we've really brought that down where it used to be a huge problem. It still could be somewhat of a problem now, but that safety and property. And when you're coming downtown, always know your surroundings, where you're parking, who you're with. Make sure you're looking into your phone, because then you can become a victim. But crime is down, and it's down from where we were in 2022. It's down about 58% downtown. And it's down, and downtown West, you just talked about with City, and you got Union Station up there, it's down about 55%. But perception takes a long time to catch up to reality. And we are short on officers. And when we can get back up to budget strength, that omnipresence can help with that perception, as long as we continue to. These men and women at St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department are doing a tremendous job in the strategies we have in place. And we're never going to relent, and can make sure to try to keep the city safer. And one of the biggest things, Tom, is we have a new circuit attorney, Gabe Gore. Now, when our officers are making arrests, holding people accountable is pretty important when they commit a crime. That wasn't happening in years past, and now it's happening. In some of the cases that people got away with 7 or 8 arrests were never held accountable. We're going back and charging them as we move forward. So it's a new day. The bad guy is not going to be emboldened anymore, and we're going to make sure we continue to keep a good eye on that.
Not only have you had a change in the circuit attorney's office, but you've also had a change at mayor and governor during your time as chief. Tell me about Kara Spencer and Mike Kehoe and how those changes have changed the overview of your job right now.
Yeah, coming into St. Louis, who knew a few years ago that we'd have a mayoral change, and then having the state take over and go back to what they used to have. It was a board of commissioners. 2 weeks before the general election, Governor Mike Kehoe signed a Bill 495, which actually put the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department back under the state, back under a board of commissioners, which is 6 commissioners, five voting members, 1 non-voting member, one of the voting members being the mayor, which we just talked about, Kara Spencer, who won the election a couple of weeks later. And so I have different governance, and I also have new leadership. But my main goal where I came here was to help reduce crime, work with police departments. I've worked in New York, Chicago, Wilmington, Delaware, and I've worked for different types of governance. So if I can keep the officers focused, keep myself focused on the strategies we're doing, and help educate and also work with the new governance, usually when you go in the right direction, they will support you in doing that job. And I already see that happening with both the new governor, the board, and also this new mayor.
You worked in Delaware, as you mentioned. Chicago, New York are major metropolitan areas, cities. High population means problems. They do arise. Tell me specifically about your experience in New York and around Yankee Stadium. There are some, you've seen everything, I'm sure, but being among those fans, being a fan of the team yourself, but also doing the job to keep everybody safe.
Well, we talked about my sister who's sitting here taking me to the games and to the bleachers back in the probably the early 70s, and then being a Yankee fan all my life. As a young police officer, I actually worked the Yankee Stadium detail back in 87 and 88, where they assign officers for the season, and we have a locker room underneath Yankee Stadium next to the visitors' locker room. So I got to see all the players coming in. We got to know the Yankees because we're in uniform. We respect the ball players. Ball players respect people in uniform, and a dream come true. I get to go into law enforcement, follow my father's career, who was a Bronx homicide detective, and then I get to work at Yankee Stadium, and I'm getting paid for this. So those were the things that I was very fortunate in a very dangerous job. And then, then I made sergeant. I went and took a test, and then I couldn't go back to Yankee Stadium as working as an officer. I went off to Manhattan, and then my career took off as far as going up the ranks. But being around those crowds, I've had a lot of experience being around how to do crowd control, how to keep people safe. I also worked Madison Square Garden for a lot of years, supervising security and in secondary. And I've been around a lot of stadiums, of course, all going off to Chicago. Crowd control and making sure that those stadiums were kept safe, as well as the center stand. They had the United Center, and they did win championships. And then we had to do crowd control. The Blackhawks at the time had won, and then Cubs actually won when we were there. So I'm hoping coming here, St. Louis will have that World Series, and the Blues and the soccer club.
That's St. Louis City Police Chief Robert Tracy on Sports on a Sunday Morning with me on KMOX yesterday. That full conversation, he actually spent an hour with us, kind of co-hosting as he did last year during the Cards-Yankees series, can be found on our Sports on a Sunday Morning podcast at KMOX.com. It's 7:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Genesis of St. Charles, the #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri for 2025. That's based on GMA sales records for 2024. Every purchase comes with 3 years of complimentary Genesis service valet. Must be within 125 miles. That means complimentary vehicle pickup and delivery, plus a loaner vehicle at no additional cost. You can schedule it online. Heck, you can buy online and let them deliver to you. But let me tell you, Genesis of St. Charles not only can bring the test drive to you, but there is nothing like stopping in for exclusive in-store offers, seeing that luxury service at the state-of-the-art facility, at 5601 Veterans Memorial Parkway, Missouri's first and only standalone Genesis dealership. A large selection of new Genesis models in stock right now, ready for you to drive home today. Genesis of St. Charles, genesisofstcharles.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
In home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence, Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
It is 7:30, and we've got some sunshine in downtown St. Louis, 77 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. It's Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Tom, completely thinned out up in North County, westbound Highway 270, approaching the earlier accident at 170. A little more volume now, headed eastbound on Highway 64, east of 170 up to Big Bend, westbound 64 from Forest Park out to Big Bend as well. A little off the pace northbound on Highway 270 from north of Big Bend up through Manchester Road, the Clayton Road overpass, and Highway 64. And that pocket of volume still there northbound on Highway 55 at Weber Road, headed into the work zone, headed towards South City. I'm Frank Ladd with traffic in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be hot today, but we get some relief for the rest of the week. So we just have to get through today with sunshine, some clouds, very hot and humid with a high of 97. Real field temperatures as hot as 105. A thunderstorm in spots tonight, so it'll be warm and sticky, but those storms should take a lot of the hot temperatures out. So our heat advisory ends at 8. And by tomorrow, our high will be near 90. It's 77 now.
It's 7:31. KMOX continues to monitor developments with skyrocketing electric bills. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is voicing concern.
Governor Pritzker says Illinois produces more electricity than it uses.
The reason that rates are going up is because we are in the PJM interconnection area that allows states like Ohio to build, as they plan to, a massive AI data center that will take up a whole lot of electricity that comes from Illinois.
Pritzker says it comes back to a couple of things, but PJM is a big part of it. The governor says the question now is if they are going to interconnect the projects that are sitting there waiting to be part of the grid or not, and how fast they can get that done.
They've held it back. I happen to think it's because there are some people on the PJM board who are in the fossil fuel industry.
Pritzker says they think it's okay to hold back the solar and wind projects in order to advance the cause of fossil fuel. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Missouri Republicans believe it's likely Governor Kehoe will call a special session on redistricting.
President Trump has designs on an extra House seat for Republicans ahead of next year's midterm elections. It'd be created mostly by redrawing Kansas City. But KMOX Democratic analyst Michael Kelly says the repercussions could be statewide and possibly a bad deal for the legislature. He says Republicans may want to get rid of the filibuster, an important tool for the minority Democrats in the state Senate.
If the Republicans were to implement what's called the previous question, it would end the filibuster and pass this, and I think it would blow up the legislature for years to come because there would be no trust in the process.
Democrats are still upset about the GOP using previous question to go after voter-approved measures like paid sick leave and abortion rights. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We'll check your money report next.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. OpenPhone gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. OpenPhone lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you and your team can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? OpenPhone automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With OpenPhone's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions, and use those insights to coach your team and level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with OpenPhone. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try OpenPhone for free at openphone.com/try and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/try. openphone.com/TRY.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It is 7:36. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterey along with Tom Ackerman. Kimberly Adams is joining us with the latest from Bloomberg. It is sponsored for you this hour by Busey Bank.
Good morning. Air Canada has suspended its financial guidance through the end of this year. The impact of a strike by flight attendants has caused the airline to scrap its entire flying schedule. About 10,000 Air Canada flight attendants walked out on Saturday, grounding the airline and disrupting travel for about 130,000 passengers. Foreigners have returned to the American real estate market. The National Association of Realtors says sales of existing U.S. properties to non-U.S. citizens from April of last year through March of this year hit $56 billion. That was up 33% from the same period a year earlier. And the Star Trek franchise is living long and prospering, celebrating its 60th anniversary with a load of new action figures. The first wave of toys includes characters making their debut in this category. The groundbreaking original TV series debuted on NBC back in 1966. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
This is the run my own business dream. This is the college is paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments. Through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. When it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Their certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers, and you can even schedule evening and weekend service. Just call 314-781-5200 and always look for the red ribbon. It's your assurance you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door, the most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. For same-day service, schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com. 314-781-5200.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Baby's gone. Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals. That ball was mashed. And there are more ways to watch this season. Holy cow! Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts. How about that play? Or watch through a TV provider. Incredible! Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. He got it! Learn more at cardinals.com/TV. Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
How are we already at the last show of the season at the Muni? The return of Jersey Boys closes the 107th Muni season. Hits like Sherry, Big Girls Don't Cry, My Eyes Adored You. I will meet you at the Muni.
The Muni in Forest Park.
Jersey Boys, the story of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, closes the Muni season in style, August 18th through 24th. Sponsored by Commerce Bank and Commerce Trust. For tickets, visit muni.org.
Today, the Cards, the Marlins. Ameren Total Access 445. Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
7:40 in time for traffic and weather. It's going to be another hot day. Nice out there right now if you can get out and do what you need to do. Let's check in right now with Frank Ladd. He's got the latest on your ride in from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thanks, Debbie. We're sponsored by Chesterfield Fence and Deck, northbound on Highway 270 this morning. Just pockets of volume at Gravois. You're back on the brakes again, north of 44 in pockets, headed through Big Bend and Manchester Road. East and westbound Highway 64, you've got pockets of volume between the Inner Belt and Forest Park there. Into downtown St. Louis, we are essentially delay-free. Westbound on Highway 70, crossing the usual Veterans Bridge. Westbound on Highway 64, crossing the Poplar Street Bridge. You do have those slowdowns, though, further east in the Metro East from 111 headed up towards 203 westbound on Highway 70. That's due to road work there. Delay free up in North County, westbound on Highway 270 between the Chain of Rocks Bridge and 170. And no problems to report coming in from St. Charles County, eastbound on Highway 64 or eastbound on Highway 70. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 20% off your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. Our next traffic update at 7:50. Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
I was just telling Debbie I'm headed to the Muni tonight. Angie and I are going to go with some friends to see Jersey Boys. AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. It's going to be warm. Now, they do circulate the air in there pretty well in that outdoor theater, but it'll be a hot one regardless.
It is, and temperatures are going to head for 97. We've been at 98, 98, 96 the past 3 days, and we're going to be in that same neighborhood today, Tom, with AccuWeather real field temperatures over 100. But it's the last of its kind. We don't have a heat advisory for tomorrow. It just looks like it's a little cloudy or a little cooler with a chance for a thunderstorm or two. In fact, there could be one in the area late this afternoon or this evening. Pretty spotty in nature. Just keep an eye out for those. Warm and sticky overnight, those 76. With a few more clouds around, we'll keep temperatures closer to 90, and there's a risk for a thunderstorm at almost any time. Best chance, obviously, would be in the afternoon. Wednesday, clouds, some sun, warm, but humid with a high of 86 and a stray thunderstorm. We dry it out for Thursday. With more sunshine, we get to 87, upper 80s to near 90 on Friday. 78 right now in St. Peter's. It's 81 in Florissant. Mainly sunny, 81 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 7:42. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders are meeting with President Trump today at the White House to discuss an end to the war with Russia. The meeting follows a summit between Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin last week. While Trump previously demanded a ceasefire before peace talks, he has now dropped that precondition. Zelensky has rejected ceding any territory to Russia, but Putin reportedly agreed to allow the U.S. and Europe to provide security guarantees to Ukraine as part of a deal.
Air Canada's 10,000 striking flight attendants are defying a government order to return to work, causing widespread travel disruptions. The strike, which began on Saturday, has already disrupted hundreds of flights and affected more than 130,000 daily passengers. The union is demanding higher wages and pay for pre-flight duties. While the government has mandated arbitration to end the walkout, the union is calling the order unconstitutional and has vowed to continue their strike.
For the first time ever, scientists have captured a real-time 3D video of an embryo attaching itself to the wall of a uterus. Researchers developed a synthetic replica of the uterus to film the process, which is a critical step in the earliest days of pregnancy. The detailed images reveal that embryos exert considerable force to burrow into the uterine wall. Scientists hope this new understanding of the process will lead to new methods to prevent miscarriages and improve fertility treatments.
A former president getting the honor of a Forever stamp.
The U.S. Postal Service says it will put out a commemorative Forever stamp honoring Georgia's only president, Jimmy Carter. The Postal Service plans to release the stamp for purchase in Atlanta on October 1st, which would have been Carter's 101st birthday. The stamp shows Carter wearing a suit with a brown and black tie, his name up top in gold with a black background. Carter died in December after being in hospice care for nearly 2 years. Matt Piper, CBS News.
Pope Leo spends the end of his vacation with some of the church's most needy.
Pope Leo XIV spent the last Sunday of his summer vacation with several dozen refugees, homeless, and poor people, and the church volunteers who helped them. He celebrated a special mass in Castel Gandolfo in the hills south of Rome. The Pope told them that in the church, everyone is poor and precious, but all share the same dignity. He then shared a lunch with them of lasagna and roast veal at the Pope's summer lakeside estate. Sabina Castelfranco, CBS News, Rome.
Nathan Church made his major league debut yesterday for the Cardinals. Played center field, went 0 for 4 on the day. Also missed the cutoff man on a throw, which allowed a runner to get into scoring position. He'll learn from those things. Got a great arm. He's got a good bat, too. Nathan Church is now a St. Louis Cardinal. This is also a good, heartwarming Cardinals story. So not long ago, Joel Pozo went to Children's Hospital, actually Mercy Hospital. Joel is using his first players weekend in the big leagues to pay tribute to his son, Paul, who suffered a stroke shortly after being born. The Cardinals shared that Joel and Paul visited with children who are battling similar health problems at Mercy Hospital so that they could put their power and strength on his bat. The kids painted Pozo's bat with handprints, making it look really cool to them and to him. And he actually put a photo of his son Paul on the knob of the bat. And then using that bat yesterday against the Yankees, Pozo did this.
Here's the next one. Pozo swings, and he drives that one. Deep left center field, way back, and it's a gunner for Pozo. 4-3 Cardinals in the bottom of the sixth. Joel's 5th home run of the year puts the Cardinals in front against the Yankees.
What a great moment for Pozo, his family, and all the kids at Mercy Hospital as the Cardinals took a 4-3 lead. Unfortunately, things started to unravel for the Cardinals after that. A Bellinger sac fly in the 7th tied the game 4-4, but here was the biggest problem. 9th inning, and this.
The pitch to him, and there's a high chopper toward the second baseman. Sajaci gets it, and he throws it away at first base. Caballero's going to make second base. My goodness, that was out number 1, but an E4 puts the go-ahead run at second with nobody out.
And then
the pitch, a swing and a ground ball to Sajaci off his glove into right field. 2 runs are going to score. On to third base goes the pinch runner, Aaron Judge. Judge makes it on to third base. 2 runs cross the plate. Volpe followed Caballero, and Judge made third, and it's 6-4 New York.
John Rooney with the call on KMOX. Ollie Marmol after an 8-4 loss to the Yankees on FanDuel Sports Network Midwest.
Yeah, it's a youthful play at the end of the day. I think the more experience he gets, you'll see him make that routinely. So from an internal clock standpoint, you had time there. Yeah.
One of the most experienced players on the PGA Tour, Scotty Scheffler, has done something. The last person to do it was Tiger Woods. 5 wins in consecutive seasons on the tour. He won the BMW Championship yesterday outside of Baltimore, turning a 4-shot deficit into a 2-shot win, and he did it by nailing an 82-foot chip shot on the 17th hole. Next BMW Championship will be here in St. Louis next year at Belle Reve Country Club. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about 213 Complex, which is available at Supplement Superstores. It is the most effective and powerful all-natural weight loss supplement ever developed. Here's what it does for me and what it will do for you. Optimizes thyroid function, which gets your metabolism rocking and rolling, helps you with appetite and craving control. All-day focused energy comes with that, plus the reduced cortisol levels helps you get a better night's sleep. So get out to Supplement Superstores, tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off the 213 Complex. Find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Hey guys, Dave and Rach here for our good friends at Smart Mouth. So it is unique by the very definition of the word. It's the only mouth rinse out there with 2 chemicals that combine to prevent bad breath for 24 hours a day with just 2 rinses a day.
Never have bad breath again. You can find Smart Mouth locally at Schnucks and Deerbergs or at Walgreens, Walmart, and Amazon. Visit smartmouth.com to snag a special discount on your next Smart Mouth purchase. That's smartmouth.com/Glover.
Cardinal Cowboy here. After proving the doctors wrong following my accident, I got back to baseball, started kicking field goals, and finally got paid as a pro kicker and ultimately became a leader in the marketing world. That's why I trust Renner Garage Door, exceeding expectations for over 65 years. They service, sell, and install top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster. Get your free quote today. Check them out at RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, forward and back. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
It doesn't take a lot to make a big difference.
That's why we've teamed up with Jerry Kelly Heating and Cooling to bring you 100 acts of kindness.
For the next 6 months, the Chris and Amy Show is challenging you to spread kindness in simple, meaningful ways. No big budget needed.
Write a thank you note, help a neighbor, surprise someone with a smile. It all counts.
Let's prove that kindness is contagious. Share your acts with us by using hashtag 100KindActs.
Because a little kindness goes a long way.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
It is 7:50, time for another check of the roadways and the weather. It's a breezy morning out there with plenty of sunshine, and it's going to be another hot day. Let's see if things are heating up on the roadways. Roger Brand has the day off. Frank Ladd is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, the good news is folks are keeping their cool out there on these hot days. That's the good news. We don't have many incidents out there at all currently. We do have volume just westbound on Highway 64 passing Forest Park. Eastbound 64, you're on the breaks in stretches now east of Clayton Worson. Make your way headed up towards Big Bend. Northbound on Highway 55, you're going to see a pocket of volume approaching that work zone from Weber Road north of there. Pretty good into downtown St. Louis. Northbound on Highway 270, just off the pace stretches at Gravel, and then you're back on the breaks north of 44 in pockets headed up towards Highway 64 north of Manchester Road. Southbound 170 a little off the pace as well from the Parkway headed towards 64. Coming in from out west St. Charles County, drivers seeing a great run eastbound on Highway 70 passing Lake St. Louis 79, 370 all the way up to the Blanchette Bridge. Our next traffic update at 7:58. Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be hot today. A heat advisory through 8 p.m. Sunshine and some clouds. The high 97. Real feels over 105. A thunderstorm in spots this evening. Otherwise, warm and sticky tonight. Low 76. Tomorrow, high not far from 90. Still humid. Thunderstorm around. Not as hot. Wednesday, more clouds than sun. Warm and humid. High just 86. It's going to feel a little different. Thursday's high is 87. We're getting hot this morning. It is sunny and 79 already downtown at the Arch.
There's quite honestly a myriad of emotions.
Today is the first day of school for students across the Missouri side of the bi-state. And the emotion many students might feel is cell phone withdrawal. State law says no more phones in school. Districts that have already done this report hearing the background din of lunchroom chatter returning. Michael Calhoun with Rockwood School Superintendent Dr. Curtis Kane.
What kind of, cultural and social changes are you kind of expecting from this?
I think everything that you just described, Michael, is what we will see. More conversation. Those soft skills are really important, not just for the world of work, but for life itself.
Last year, he says Rockwood did a scaled down cell phone ban, and he didn't get a single phone call or email from an upset parent.
Construction of a data center in St. Charles is likely to fail after 2 council members say they will vote no at tomorrow's meeting. The project received pushback from residents concerned about water pollution and energy bill increases. It's also been kept secret which company wants to build the data center. The council members who plan to vote no say an open house last week about the project failed to answer residents' questions about the site.
The federal law, dubbed the Big Beautiful Bill, could have an unexpected impact on Missouri's upcoming sports gambling launch. The legislation limits gambling write-offs to 90%, which means gamblers who break even or lose money could still be taxed on their winnings. Ryan Butler with Cover.com tells KMOX this won't typically impact most potential gamblers in the Show Me State.
In Missouri specifically, it impacts a small subset of gamblers. But again, nationwide, if there is fewer people gambling, if they feel taxed out of it, if they feel that there's consequences for it, if they leave the market, that then the legal market, that then hurts everybody down the stream.
Bipartisan legislation is already in the works to reverse that change. Missouri is set to launch sports gambling December 1st. Officials project it'll bring in $100 million a year in tax revenue.
KMOX's Michael Calhoun with an update now on the River Chopper crash.
Federal investigators have released new details about the fatal helicopter crash that happened last week in West Alton. An eyewitness confirmed to investigators that the helicopter's tail struck a power line as crewmen attempted to attach a large orange aviation warning marker to it. The impact caused the tail to dangle and the aircraft to pivot into another line, creating sparks before it then fell onto a barge. A nearby tow vessel's crew successfully extinguished the post-crash fire, and investigators are now examining video from that boat as they continue their inquiry.
The father of 2 small children under arrest after he left the kids inside a hot car with the windows rolled up and no air conditioning. The St. Anne Neighborhood Watch reports the incident on Facebook, saying the father went into Aldi. High temperatures peaked around the mid-90s on Saturday. So within 10 minutes or so, the car's internal temperature could have been 115 degrees or more. A citizen reported the incident. The children were rescued from the car by first responders. Their conditions were not released.
We'll check traffic in 2 minutes, coming up on 7:56 on Total Information AM.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The temperature sure heated up this weekend, but what's the housing market doing? Is it heating up? Is it going down? What's the inventory? How are interest rates impact? These are all things that you might be thinking about, but I'll tell you, if you have the right agent, then these things don't really matter. Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty is the agent who can sell your home for top dollar and quickly with an upfront in writing guarantee that she'll sell your home. And if you're planning to buy another, she can help you with that as well. Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Your home sold or she'll buy it. In fact, Gloria will guarantee in writing to sell your home at 100% of market value, or she will pay you the difference. In Chesterfield, the Smiths got multiple offers in just 1 week. And this could be you as well. So if you want to sell your home quickly and for the most money, Gloria Liu is the person to call at 314-325-6888. 314-325-6888. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. Find her online right now at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country. For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend.
Oh, my Bob!
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me, like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too.
It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
Let's check in with Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thanks, Debbie. We've got volume passing Forest Park now, westbound on Highway 64 out to about Big Bend. Eastbound Highway 64, you've got pockets of volume as well. East of the Clayton-Worson overpass headed towards Big Bend. Southbound 170, a little off the pace, that left lane, making your way towards Highway 64. Westbound on Highway 5564, a little bit of volume now west of the Eads Bridge split, making your way towards downtown St. Louis. You do have a pocket of volume into the road construction westbound on Highway 70 between 111 and 203. West of there, a great run crossing the Mutual Veterans Bridge. Delay free up in North County, westbound on Highway 270 right now. Similar story coming in from St. Charles County, eastbound on Highway 64, eastbound on Highway 270, and just pockets of volume, not quite stop and go, northbound on Highway 270, north of Gravois up through about Highway 44, and then you're back on the breaks-in stretches towards Manchester and 64. Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sunny and 80 degrees downtown at the Arch. How will families handle some big changes in St. Louis public schools this year? KMOX's Maria Kina will take a look.
I'm Debbie Monterey. Illinois is changing how it rates student proficiency. KMOX's Michael Calhoun gets a reaction from a Metro East district.
How can you take advantage of new rules for auto loan tax deductions? We'll get you some tips.
Celebrity scams are taking advantage of fans. We talk with media expert Julie Smith on how to avoid being a victim.
This is Total Information AM.
Of the National Edward R. Murrow Award for breaking news. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. 3 days after his summit with Vladimir Putin, President Trump is set to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House. Correspondent Aaron Navarro.
You've seen that relationship between President Trump and Zelensky evolve since that contentious Oval Office meeting. They've had multiple phone calls. They met in person in Rome. And President Trump in recent weeks has shown frustration with Russian President Putin and Russia's strikes on Ukrainian civilians. But in a post last night, President Trump does believe that the ball is in Zelensky's court now.
Mr. Trump posting Zelensky can end the war almost immediately by dropping his bid to join NATO and agreeing to give back Crimea for good. Former Ukraine Defense Minister Anatoly Grintseko.
There must be quite a clear understanding that there is an aggressor on one side who started the war, there is a murderer, and there is a victim that is suffering from the war.
Hurricane Erin has powered back up to a Category 4 storm that's pounding Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. It's stirring up rough surf and dangerous rip currents already along the U.S. East Coast. CBS's Lonnie Quinn.
The track of the storm still takes it in between the U.S. coastline and Bermuda, but the closest it gets to our area is going to be around the North Carolina Outer Banks. It looks to be about a Category 2 on Thursday with 110-mile-per-hour winds, but it's lashing big waves out there.
Breaking news from Utah, where officials say 2 officers have been killed in a shooting in the northern city of Tremonton. Police say a sheriff's deputy and a police dog were wounded when the group responded to a domestic disturbance call. Police say after the officers were shot, bystanders persuaded the man to put down his weapon. He is under arrest on charges of aggravated murder. Police say the threat is over. Striking Air Canada flight attendants are defying a government order to return to work after they walked out Saturday, leaving thousands of passengers stranded, including here in the U.S. and Canada.
There's nothing available. We can't get through on the phone.
I'm trying to get back home to London. Hopefully I'm going to get back, but we'll see, I guess.
Not to sound chuggy, but CBS's Vicky Barker has been checking out new words that have made it into the dictionary.
Skibbity, the nonsense word coined by the creator of a viral animated video series, is among 6,000 new words in the Cambridge Dictionary, along with that shorthand for a traditional wife, the trad wife. Though purists might sniff, slang expert Terry Victor reminds us English is being constantly reinvented by us.
It shows the creative and democratic use of English, and that is such a great thing.
S&P futures down 5. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. We offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit progressive.com today.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 80 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Monday, August 18th. The news sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Megan Lynch.
There's quite honestly a myriad of emotions.
Today is the first day of school for students across the Missouri side of the bi-state, and the emotion many students might feel is cell phone withdrawal. State law says no more phones in school. Districts who have already done this report hearing the background din of lunchroom chatter has returned. Michael Calhoun with Rockwood School Superintendent Dr. Curtis Kane.
What kind of, I guess, cultural and social changes are you kind of expecting from this?
I think everything that you just described, Michael, is what we will see. More conversation. Those soft skills are really important, not just for the world of work, but for life itself.
Last year, he says Rockwood did a scaled-down cell phone ban, and he didn't get a single phone call or email from an upset parent. Illinois, meantime, starting the school year with new proficiency standards that in some subjects are lower than before, but it's not a lowering of expectations, says State Superintendent Dr. Tony Sanders.
The problem in Illinois is one that superintendents and principals and teachers across the state have known for years, that I've known, and that is that we have set cut scores for proficiency on our state assessments that far exceeded what the national experts would have suggested, and we were actually doing so in a way that would mislabel kids as not being college and career ready, and we wanted to fix that.
He says it's obvious there's a disparity when not only are Illinois' proficiency scores the highest around, but 2/3 of students get into college, while the test scores indicate only a 1/3 are proficient. How are the proficiency policy changes from Springfield impacting school districts in our area? KMOX asked Collinsville Superintendent Dr. Mark Skirtich for reaction.
For years, they tried to rank, file, and punish schools for those scores. But in reality, all of our kids walk into school not at the same level, though all at varying levels. So making sure that we at least align with neighboring states is important so we get a fair comparison.
The test itself does not change, neither will funding formulas or graduation requirements. Could the big, beautiful bill hurt Missouri's sports gambling rollout?
The changes limit tax write-offs on losses to only 90% of what is gambled starting next year. So gamblers who bet $50,000 and collect $50,000 would normally not pay any income taxes. Now they would pay as if they won $5,000. Ryan Butler with Covers.com tells KMOX this typically would only impact high-volume gamblers since most gamblers do not wager enough to draw scrutiny from the IRS.
They want to put some money on the Blues. They want to put some money on the Cardinals. They, see something interesting. They're bored on a Thursday. They see the Thursday night Titans-Jaguars game.
Butler says if high-volume bettors go to overseas or unregulated sports books, where Missouri and the rest of the country's gamblers could see an impact is fewer bets with potentially steeper odds. Sports gambling is set to begin in Missouri on December 1st. Legislation with some bipartisan support to revoke the Big Beautiful Bill's gambling changes has been introduced. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Construction of a data center in St. Charles likely to fail after 2 council members say they'll vote no at tomorrow's meeting. The project received pushback from residents concerned about water pollution and energy bill increases. It's also been kept secret which company wants to build the data center. The council members who plan to vote no say an open house last week about the project failed to answer residents' questions about the site. KMOX has a follow-up now on the exorbitant electric bills customers are getting on both sides of the river. But as our Maria Kina reports, Illinois' governor is addressing the issue in his state.
Pritzker says right now, Illinois produces more power than what they need. However, he attributes the high bills to PJM. That's a regional transmission organization that is part of the Eastern Interconnection Grid, operating an electric transmission system serving 11 states, the District of Columbia, and Illinois.
I happen to think it's because there are some people on the PJM board who are in the fossil fuel industry and think it's okay for us to hold back the solar and wind projects in order to advance the cause of fossil fuel. But there are other reasons I'm sure they're taking into account.
Pritzker says he believes Illinois and the entire country should be producing more electricity, and he adds, He's advancing that cause. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
The Cardinals were swept by the New York Yankees at Busch Stadium over the weekend. The Cards have dropped to 5.5 games out of a wild card spot. The Redbirds fly to Miami, Florida tonight to take on the Marlins. First pitch set for 5:40 here on KMOX. We'll check traffic and weather in 2 minutes. It's now 8:08.
6 iconic names, 2 bobbleheads, 1 unforgettable night. Join us Friday, September 5th as the Cardinals face off with the Giants and celebrate the 1985 National League Championship. That night, 20,000 fans 16 and older will take home one of 2 1985 triple bobbleheads, courtesy of Coca-Cola and Deerbirds. Whether it's the legendary Coleman, McGee, and Smith, or the iconic Tudor, Cox, and Andujar, you won't want to miss your chance to get this unique triple bobblehead. Tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions.
Head to the stadium on Saturday, September 6th, when the Birds host the Giants. 20,000 fans, 16 and older, will score a limited edition Hall of Fame baseball card shirt, thanks to Edward Jones. This all-over print shirt features McGee, Forsch, Tudor, Coleman, the Wizard, Whitey, and her. It's a giveaway you won't want to miss. That's Saturday, September 6th. Get tickets today at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Willie McGee, St. Louis Cardinals for the Loop.
Like I said before, tariffs had absolutely zero effect on our equipment pricing. No manufacturer raised their prices. What has affected the pricing is the previous 4 years of these ridiculous mandates. I mean, I say ridiculous, it's shameful. But that being said, if you're told that you need a new system, or your air conditioner is bad, or you're looking to replace your system, if you want a common sense approach which works for you, your family, and your budget. When I say your budget, it never is what you want it to be on this equipment, but common sense approach, 15-20 minutes of your time, and explain to you your options. No Kool-Aid being handed out. I'm Bart Inman. It's Bart with a B, Inman with an I. The easiest way to get a hold of me with the easiest number, Missouri and Illinois, there's only one, 314-293-2600. Remember, 0% financing is available for most up to 60 months. Fantastic deal. God bless.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Now, the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
8:10, let's get a check of the roads with Roger Brand, actually Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thanks, Megan. We're generally light and on the move out there in most stretches of highway. Northbound on Highway 55, you got a little bit of a hesitation, slow down into that work zone on Weber Road. North of there, a great run towards downtown St. Louis. Similar story from the Metro East, westbound Highway 70, crossing the Musial, westbound 5564, crossing the Poplar. You got a stop and go short stretch, westbound on Highway 64, passing Forest Park. By the time you make your way to McCausland, you're back up to speed. Northbound on 270 so far this morning, just off the pace, north of 44 in pockets, headed towards Manchester Road and Highway 64, delay free coming in from St. Charles County to St. Louis County, eastbound 64 and eastbound Highway 70. Our next traffic update at 8:20, Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A heat advisory remains in effect through 8 this evening. It'll be very hot and humid again today with sun and some clouds and a high of 97. Those AccuWeather real field temperatures peak over 105. Look for a stray evening thunderstorm, otherwise partly cloudy, warm and muggy tonight, those 76. Tomorrow, not as hot, but still humid with clouds and sun, along with a thunderstorm or two, especially in the afternoon, the high closer to 90. For Wednesday, warm and humid with clouds, some sun, and a thunderstorm in the area, high 86. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Already pretty warm out there right now. We do have sunny skies, 79 degrees in Florissant and St. Peters, 80 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. We've been reporting on the challenges St. Louis public school students could be facing today. 7 schools seriously damaged in the May 16th tornado will not open, so all those students are being put in different schools. Here's KMOX's Maria Kina.
And there's no timeline when the repairs could be made to the damaged schools. AFT Local 420's Byron Clemens talked with KMOX and tells us Superintendent Dr. Millicent Borichetti's announcement that half of all the St. Louis public schools could close came at the wrong time.
After the trauma of the tornado and everything we've gone through in a few schools that are being repaired over that, we didn't think that was a good start to the school year. We want to get ready and excited for the new school year and not talk about school closings.
And it's a big number too, wasn't it? 37?
it was half of the schools that we have.
And for people who might not understand that, Mr. Clemens, kind of explain to them what that would mean to close 37 schools in the city.
Well, some of the schools that they had put on the possible list for closing, and whenever they float this kind of thing before, it's sort of political to see how folks will react to it. But it's the places that were hardest hit by the tornadoes. It's just not really fair to the parents and families of North St. Louis to give them a double whammy at this time. We're going to come up with a 5-year plan for education, include other people and the stakeholders at the table. And instead of closing schools, reconfigure them, expand some things, perhaps open a trade high school, full service community schools. We're working on a plan to do that as an alternative to closing schools.
St. Mary's just announced trades too.
Absolutely. We want to mirror what St. Mary's is doing. There's something called the Building Union Diversity Program, a BUD program. One of our school board members is a teacher in that program. So we're excited about possibilities of a future and an investment in the future. One other concern we have is TIFs and tax abatements. One of the things that we're looking at, of course, is financing. And we're not opposed to TIFs and tax abatements, but they should never be 90%. They should never be for 20 years. There should be some reasonable number that doesn't hurt kids and schools.
From the trauma of the tornado, and that these are specifically in the areas that were hit so hard by the tornado. I mean, what are you hearing from families? Because a lot of them still haven't fully recovered.
North St. Louis is still recovering. I know some people very well who have property there, and it's really hard. And even in the news, we're pleased from the mayor to get more help from the federal government, perhaps the Corps of Engineers to help speed along the process. But people are still cleaning up and getting through that, and even looking at housing sometimes. One of the things we'd like to look at is perhaps there are about 3,000 unhoused kids in the city of St. Louis. Maybe one of the things we can do to reconfigure schools is housing for the unhoused. But thinking outside of the box and not the regular, let's just close it down and see what happens. That's not investing in our future.
Let me ask you something about the superintendent. Do you have confidence? Is there still confidence in her and in her abilities to go forward with this new school year?
Our members are very concerned about the superintendent, and we'll have to see where we go from here. But there are concerns about the opening of schools, particularly this releasing the study at this particular time about the possibility of closing schools. Maybe that is in the future, but it's really poor timing when we're still cleaning up from the tornado.
And it seems as though that was part of the old regime too, but I guess the school board went ahead and made that offer. So I understand the union didn't have anything to do with that.
That's correct. We did not select the superintendent, and we were a little surprised to see in the audit that some of the practices that were of a concern under the old regime may have transferred over to the new regime, but we'll find out.
I know you can't talk about the bus service, but I've got to think that this has got to be a huge concern, certainly for parents, and one that's kind of nerve-wracking. You haven't really heard anything about it, but are you confident that it'll be okay Monday morning?
Normally, for almost every school district, there are glitches that happen. We're, remaining optimistic that this new Zoom bus company, which has a good reputation in some other places, we hope that they can do the job. But, that's not really our call.
My concern would be that, with all the confusion that there was last semester with the different routes and that sort of thing, where things are going to stand.
Well, the
Monday.
truth be told about the truth be told about the previous bus company that we had, the Missouri Central, that company did not have a good reputation in terms of management in the area. Their management came out of Chicago, and they really weren't boots on the ground. And there were a lot of issues with their drivers and mechanics, and some allegations of racial misconduct that were very public, and people walking off the jobs. And that made everything more traumatic. And so I'd have to say that looks like a questionable player. And they're the ones who walked out of the contract. So that's just, it's not fair to the families of St. Louis, but that's a little beyond the control of the Board of Education.
When you had mentioned, just going back a little bit here about the lack of confidence, is there any chance that the teachers, the union, will vote A lack of confidence in the superintendent?
There is a petition drive, but and we're following the concerns of our union members. That's what we do. And as soon as they've taken any action, we will be public with it.
But there is a chance that there is a petition circulating right now.
That's correct.
Explain to me what happens then. If they have a vote of no confidence in her, what would happen then, Mr. Clemens?
Well, I'm not able to say that until we see how this pans out. It hasn't happened yet.
Maria Kina, KMOX News.
And still ahead this hour on Total Information AM, Illinois is changing how it rates student proficiency. KMOX's Michael Calhoun will get reaction from a Metro East district coming up. Also, how can you take advantage of new rules for auto loan tax deductions? We're going to get some tips from Bankrate. And then how can you avoid becoming a victim of a celebrity scam? We'll ask Webster University media instructor Julie Smith. Plus, we'll tell you about a big earthquake conference for first responders coming to Central and Northeast Missouri. We'll talk to one of the planners about that and what they're hoping to gain from that. It's now 8:19. Let's get an early check of the roads now. Roger Brand taking some time away. Frank Ladd is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Frank, how's it look?
Megan, not bad out there this morning. Headed northbound on Highway 270, just a little off the pace now between Big Bend and Manchester Road. Again, approaching Highway 64, mainly those right-hand lanes. Southbound on 170, just a little bit of volume ramping onto eastbound Highway 64. You've got an off-the-pace stretch. It's not stop and go, though. Eastbound on 64 between Clayton Worson and Big Bend. Westbound 64, a little off the pace passing Forest Park into downtown St. Louis. Delay-free. Westbound on Highway 55, 64 crossing the Poplar Street Bridge. You've got that slowdown in the work zone westbound Highway 70 west of 111 headed towards 203. Eastbound on Highway 64, eastbound on Highway 70 from St. Charles County to St. Louis County look pretty good, crossing the Boone Bridge on 64 and the Blanchette Bridge on Highway 70. We're sponsored by SNL Coins, and our next update is at 8:30. Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
Checking the forecast for today, we are under a heat advisory through 8 o'clock tonight. Of course, as we've been mentioning, it's already 80 degrees in downtown St. Louis this morning. Sunny with some clouds, very hot and humid as we move through the day. The high will likely reach about 97 degrees, but the real field temperatures are going to be over 105. For this evening, we could have a thunderstorm in spots. Otherwise, partly cloudy, warm, humid with an overnight low of 76. And then tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds, not quite as hot, but still humid with a thunderstorm or two around, especially in the afternoon. Expect a high near 90. Right now, again, we've got sunny skies, 80 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
This is Tom Ackerman for Gamma Tree Experts, a full-service tree care firm specializing in the preservation of your valuable trees. We have a lot of trees in our yard, and Tim Gamma and Tom Gamma and their outstanding staff make sure that they are well taken care of. In fact, they have now put me in the habit of taking a look at the health of our trees, plants, and shrubs. And if I have any questions, I can reach out to them at 314-725-6159, 314-725-6159, or just go to gammatree.com to learn more. Gamma Tree Experts, they will come right over and give us a full inspection, make sure that we know which trees are in trouble, which trees are doing just great. And if we end up having any storm damage, they will clean that up as well. They are Gamma Tree Experts, here since 1954. gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort, offering small ship experiences with a shore excursion included in every port and programs designed for cultural enrichment. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com.
You're back with Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. School back in session in many Illinois districts. The State Board of Education just voted to change proficiency standards. Is it lowering the bar? KMOX's Michael Calhoun asked State Superintendent Dr. Tony Sanders.
Yeah, so the problem in Illinois is one that superintendents and principals and teachers across the state have known for years, that I've known. And that is that we have set cut scores for proficiency on our state assessments that far exceeded what the national experts would have suggested. And we were actually doing so in a way that would mislabel kids as not being college and career ready. And we wanted to fix that to make sure that we're not sending the wrong message to kids that they're not ready for the next level and going to college.
Now, I understand. Can you kind of talk about the context of before? Is it that the Illinois standards were higher than other states, and so this is more in line? Or, somebody might take a look at this and go, is Illinois cutting standards? Or can you kind of explain that a little bit more?
Absolutely. I'd be glad to. So first of all, our learning standards here in Illinois remain the same. Learning standards refer to the things that we want kids to know and be able to do by certain grade levels. And our learning standards, what we want kids to know and be able to do, remain the same. Teachers will be teaching the same. We still will have high expectations for all of our kids. The difference is we had set cut scores on the statewide assessments to measure how kids are doing relative to those high standards, higher than any other state in the nation. And so what this is doing is just ensuring that we are, again, making sure that we are not misaligned in what we're telling kids. We need to make sure that we're not telling kids that they're not ready for college when we know that 2/3 of our students end up graduating and going off to college and show success there.
Yeah, that's one of the things that stood out to me is, when you take a look at, I guess, how you could characterize the classes based on the proficiency tests, but then also it would give a different message based on how many are, admitted to college, for instance. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you look at Illinois statistics, again, 2/3 of students end up going to college within a year after graduating from high school. But yet our proficiency rates in English language arts hovered around 38%. And so there's clearly something amiss there, right? And we just wanted to stop the practice of telling kids that they were not ready for college. To give you the real world example, part of our work here is shifting from the SAT assessment in Illinois and reverting back to the ACT. On the SAT test, when the standards or when the cut scores were set, we set a cut score in Illinois that was significantly higher than what the College Board, the actual institution that creates the exam, said is college ready. We went above that. So we knew at the time that it was set then that we were telling kids that they were not college ready when many of them were.
Now, I know there's been a lot of feedback from a bunch of different stakeholders, from teachers to their bargaining units to superintendents and others, researchers. Can you talk more specifically about any kind of Metro East, St. Louis suburban feedback that you received from those school districts about this?
Yeah, I attended multiple sessions. We had feedback sessions across the state. We had over 1,900 teachers and superintendents and principals come out to different meetings. We did hold one in the Metro East, and I don't recall the specific feedback from that location, but we did do a full statewide listening tour to get feedback on performance level descriptors, further descriptors of what we want kids to know and be able to do, and made sure that we did this in a very transparent, open way.
Again, that is KMOX's Michael Calhoun with Illinois State School Superintendent Dr. Tony Sanders. If you're buying a new car, how do you take advantage of the new car loan interest deductions? We're going to find out more about that next. It's now 8:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
How many of you think taxes are going to go up in the future? And if they do, who will be hit the hardest? Maybe it's you, headed for retirement. You've been saving in that 401k or IRA, and that money has never been taxed. And Uncle Sam is looking at that account like it's a big, juicy steak. What can you do about it? Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, August 26th or Thursday, August 28th at Fleming's. They believe a financial plan is not a retirement plan without a tax plan. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. Reserve your spot today by calling 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. No application fee if you apply by September 3rd. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
We know you're uncertain about psychics. Is this fortune teller you found on a forum legit?
Your one true love is...
me! That's why California Psychics reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Get insights on the go. Download the California Psychics app today.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit lance.drurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
8:30, time for an updated look at the roads and see how your morning push is going. Frank Ladd is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Megan, we've got a crash now. It's eastbound on Highway 64, east of McKnight here. Looks like it's over on the right shoulder, so you can get around it pretty easily, though, eastbound on Highway 64, right near 170, east of McKnight, between McKnight and 170. So use some caution there. A little bit of a slowdown, though, headed through that stretch. Other than that, not bad. We had reports of an incident eastbound on Highway 370 near Elm, but I'm not seeing any slowdowns. No issues were seen on the camera as well, so that's good news. Northbound on Highway 270 continues to be a great run between 55 and 44, and now just off the pace north of there, headed towards Manchester Road and Highway 64. We're sponsored by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. Times are always changing, but Penn Mutual stands the test of time. The 178-year young mutual company is leading the way in life insurance. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. Our next traffic update at 8:40, Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A heat advisory is in effect until 8 o'clock tonight. It'll be sunny, hot, and humid today, a high 97, but it may feel like it's over 105 right now. Sunny skies, 80 degrees in downtown St. Louis. A newly signed federal law lets buyers deduct up to $10,000 in auto loan interest annually. But we wanted to know how this really works if you're buying a car. We've tapped into Bankrate tax expert Kimberly Washington, a CPA. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So I have to think that if you can deduct up to $10,000 in auto loan interest, that's a pretty big auto loan that you're taking out.
I think you're right about that. I mean, it's going to be a very sizable loan if you're going to be able to take, of course, the advantage of the $10,000. And that's why most Americans, they may not be able to tap into the full $10,000, but they'll be able to get some benefit out of this new law.
So how does this work?
So if you're in the market right now, you're thinking about purchasing a vehicle. If you purchase a new vehicle within this time, so starting this year, and all the way going back as retroactive of January 1st, whatever purchase that you make and you have it financed, you're able to take the deduction on your tax return as, of course, a car loan interest deduction. You can take it to, of course, reduce your tax liability. So that's what you're looking at if you're, of course, in the market to purchase a car.
Now, I'm wondering when we talk about deductions, for most people, is this worth it to go through the process of, trying to log this deduction?
I would say yes, because this deduction is available to you whether or not you itemize. So in most cases, most deductions, larger amounts of deduction, you do need to itemize, but this is a little bit different. You can take this deduction whether or not you take the standard deduction or if you choose to itemize. So keeping that paperwork, whatever you receive from, of course, the bank or whatever financial institution that you utilize will be most helpful when it comes to taking advantage of this deduction. And of course, will benefit you in so many ways.
Are there ways that you can work this to your advantage?
I think I would say yes. And the reason why I'm saying yes, because you have another little thing you want to look at what's in this big, beautiful bill. And it's the expiration of the EV tax credit. That's electric vehicle tax credit. And so how that works is that you're able to take a tax credit for an EV purchase up to $7,500 if it's a brand new vehicle. An amount, it's about $4,000 if it is a used vehicle, but it expires. This law expires on September 30th. So let's say, for instance, if you're thinking, okay, I want to purchase a new car and I'm thinking it'll be an EV, you can do that before September 30th. Get the tax credit of $7,500. And then also on top of that, if you're financing and it's a new vehicle, you can also receive the car loan interest. So that's one way you can kind of work with the numbers and get more of an advantage. And so that's something to keep in mind. But keep in mind, again, that EV tax credit expires September 30th.
All right. That is Bankrate tax expert Kimberly Washington. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments, including pills, chews, and more, 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
It's 8:36 at 104.1 FM KMOX. Time for your money report, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Kimberly Adams.
Good morning. This could potentially be a big week for the financial markets. The efforts to achieve a peace deal for Ukraine will be in focus, and investors are anxious to hear what Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell will have to say about monetary policy. Powell will speak Friday at the central bank's annual symposium in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. This week will also provide further insight into consumer spending as several big retailers post their quarterly results. We'll be hearing from Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, and others. Consumers sent mixed messages Friday. Retail sales rose by 0.5% last month, but consumer sentiment for this month unexpectedly moved lower, and that had stocks falling back from highs. The Dow managed a modest gain, while the Nasdaq and S&P 500 fell slightly. And YouTube now wants to be the home of the Oscars. Sources tell Bloomberg the Google-owned video site has inquired about buying the rights to the Academy Awards, but unseating ABC and Disney as the official home of Hollywood's most prestigious award show won't be easy. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Ooh, ma. What was that?
That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country.
For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend.
Oh, my Bob! If you or someone you know suffered any injuries involving a deployed airbag, you could be entitled to compensation. Morgan & Morgan has already recovered millions. Get America's largest injury law firm fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Sunny skies, 80 degrees at 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Construction of a data center in St. Charles likely to fail after 2 council members say they'll vote no at tomorrow's meeting. Clayton police are asking neighbors for any video footage as they continue to investigate suspected hate crimes, including car fires from earlier this month. Coming up, first responders in central and northeast Missouri meet to talk about earthquake risks. We're going to get a check of traffic and weather in just a moment.
This report is sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis.
Let's check in with Frank Ladd. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Got a new crash now at southbound Highway 170 at the Brentwood exit. Only the right lane is squeezing by there. 2 left lanes are blocked, and it's right at the exit there to Brentwood Boulevard. So you've got a little bit of a delay from the Parkway on down. South of there, you can ramp onto east and westbound Highway 64 pretty freely. They got the accident out of the way now, eastbound on Highway 64 at McKnight. So that's good news. All lanes are back open there. The shoulders wide open as well. And they quickly cleared an accident westbound on Highway 270 up in North County now, and that was at Lilac. So you had a little bit of a hesitation slowdown coming across the Chain of Rocks Bridge, make your way into North County, but now it's wide open, back up to speed. So that's the good news. Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 or schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Our next traffic update at 8:59. Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We are under a heat advisory through 8 o'clock tonight. A mix of sun and clouds, hot and humid. A high 97 with AccuWeather real feel temperatures over 105 by the time we hit this afternoon. Right now, sunny skies, 80 degrees in downtown St. Louis. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. While we know there's the possibility of a major earthquake in our region, trying to plan for what could happen surrounding a quake event is pretty much a major undertaking. Officials in central and northeast Missouri are meeting next month in Mexico to share ideas for earthquake and disaster planning. With me, Chris Newbro, PIO and emergency planner for the Audrain County Health Department. Chris, thank you so much for taking time with us this morning.
Good morning, Megan. Thank you for having me.
Now, I understand that you did spearhead this effort to get a lot of these agencies together. Why is this so important?
Well, we are situated north of the seismic zone, the New Madrid seismic zone in southeast Missouri. if they receive an 8-point earthquake down there, 8-point shaker down there, we're going to feel it up here. Probably a 6-point is what the experts are saying. So the idea here is that the construction in this area in northeast Missouri and central Missouri, these buildings were built in the late 19th century, early 20th century, probably for the most part, and they're not going to be. They haven't been retrofitted because earthquakes have not really been a focus up here in northeast Missouri, and so there's going to be some damage. I think that is possible with this earthquake if it happens, and we just want to be prepared.
When it comes to current preparation efforts or coordination between agencies, what exists already?
In Northeast Missouri, I've been here 11 years in my current role, and I've attended only one exercise and one meeting dealing with an earthquake in Central and Northeast Missouri, and that is basically to respond to one in Southeast Missouri. So not much has been done up here. So my idea was, it's time that maybe we start thinking about maybe starting to plan how are we going to respond to this, and that's what the summit hopefully is going to key on.
When you look at a quake event, what are some of the other cascade effects if that happens? I mean, it's not just the initial damage. What happens after?
Right. Well, with the initial damage, you've got more than likely you've got utility damage underground with water lines. You've got now you've got started to see underground electricity. So those could be disrupted. You've also got cascading events of building collapses as far as from the damage. So you've got issues to deal with there. You've also got roads that could be disrupted as far as the damage to the roads, making it impossible for first responders to get into the area to respond to the incident. So there's a bunch of cascading events that are going to possibly be affected by an earthquake.
When it comes to resources available, how much would this stretch some of maybe the smaller or even the bigger departments and agencies in the region?
Well, I can't speak for fire or EMS response because I'm not in that world as far as working in it. But as far as the health department area, we really haven't planned for it. So resources, we're going to rely a lot on our state partners to pull into the area. If we have something up here that requires a response. So the resources, I think, are going to be pretty stretched pretty thin up in this area, not only because of the magnitude of the event, but also the size of the departments that are responding. There's just the resources out here in rural Missouri just aren't the same as they are in the metro areas.
Chris, when it comes to health concerns specifically, what kinds of things do you feel like the health department needs to plan for if there were a major quake event?
Well, we want to concentrate on public safety as far as water safety. If there's a problem with our water systems being interrupted, that could lead to some cascading events down the line to where disease could be entered into the picture that we would have to respond to. And also making sure the big thing is that a lot of these first responders are volunteer. They may not be up on their tetanus shots as far as, to protect themselves. So part of our initial response, we believe, would be to come into that area when asked and say, are you guys up on your tetanus shots, and provide that service for them so that they can respond more safely.
What would be the challenge of coordinating between some of these smaller rural agencies, in particular communication, Chris?
Communication is going to probably be affected the most as far as talking with each other, because there's such separation in St. Louis. You've got towns that butt up against each other, back to back to back. So the ability to get help from them is a lot shorter than it is here. Like in Mexico, our closest town is 14 miles away, and that's Centralia. It's a small department there, so their resources are going to be limited as well. Especially if they have damage, they're going to be responding to their area. So it's going to take, communication is going to be key in getting responders to the area that needs to be helped. And we hope that, we can start planning for that with this summit and try and overcome that as quickly as possible.
Well, the summit is Wednesday, September 10th at St. John's Lutheran Church in Mexico, Missouri. For agencies that might, tune into this, what are some of the things that they can expect to hear that day?
Right. Well, we're going to talk about planning, because that's not something that's on the forefront of people in Northeast Missouri's mind. An earthquake, oh, that's Southeast Missouri. That's kind of the attitude I've gotten from people around here. That's Southeast Missouri. We'll help out when we need to down there. We're not going to be that affected up here. Well, that's possibly not true. So you're going to learn. You're going to see why planning is important up here. We're going to hear from people from the Disaster Mortuary Operational Response Team. If we have fatalities and where we need to call them in. We're going to hear from volunteers, organizations active in disaster. That's from the state SEMA. Jody Dickhouse is going to be speaking about that. We'll have a panel discussion about the immediate response and the long-term response. We'll have the immediate response of local emergency services such as police, fire, and ambulance service. And then we'll have the long-term response of utilities, coming in, and how they're going to respond, and also MoDOT, how they're going to respond if the roads are disrupted. So there's a short-term and a long-term response, what we're talking about there. And also we're going to talk about the communication piece that you talked about. We're going to have a PIO from Boone County come in and talk about how do you set up a communication system to respond to an incident like this. And we're also going to have a presentation from amateur radio people talking about they may be the key to getting communications restarted here in rural Missouri if that is needed.
Chris, thank you so much. Appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you, Megan. Appreciate it.
That is Chris Newbrough. He is the Public Information Officer and Emergency Planner with the Audrain County Health Department in Mexico, Missouri. Again, that event coming up on September 10th. Still ahead on Total Information AM, celebrity scams are the latest scheme to take advantage of fans. We're going to talk about it with media expert Julie Smith coming up.
Tom Ackerman here. If you are running a business, launching a brand, or leading a team, the nitrous effect might be the creative advantage you didn't know you needed. The nitrous effect. It's not just one agency. It's a collective of creative services that are St. Louis based, founded by Keith Alper, local entrepreneur, creative visionary. The nitrous effect includes some names you probably already know: the CPG agency, Upbrand, Eventive. These are folks who bring experiences and brands to life for local organizations like Lion's Choice, St. Louis Zoo, BJC Healthcare, Washington University, some admired national brands like Southwest Airlines. Whether it's a national sales meeting, a company rebrand, an employee engagement strategy, maybe a new communications campaign, check them out online at nitrouseffect.com or call them directly, 314-615-6583.
Energy security isn't a slogan, it's a necessity. American-made energy means we call the shots instead of depending on foreign sources to fill our tanks. Made here in America, ethanol keeps gas prices lower at the pump. It's reliable, creates jobs, and strengthens farming communities. Tell Congress to support nationwide year-round access to E15, a lower-cost fuel made with 15% ethanol, because American-made energy should come first. Paid for by the Renewable Fuels Association.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about 213 Complex, which is available at Supplement Superstores. It is the most effective and powerful all-natural weight loss supplement ever developed. Here's what it does for me and what it will do for you. Optimizes thyroid function, which gets your metabolism rocking and rolling, helps you with appetite and craving control. All-day focused energy comes with that, plus the reduced cortisol levels helps you get a better night's sleep. So get out to Supplement Superstores, tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off the 213 Complex. Find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
Thanks for listening to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. And as you know, we dig into a lot of media literacy topics here on KMOX with media literacy expert Julie Smith. She is back with me. And one of the things it seems like, Julie, that we often fall victim to in this country is celebrity scams. And it just seems like they have picked up the pace again.
They have. And, we've talked about this, Megan, that whole parasocial relationship, right? You feel like you know these celebrities in person. So when you get an email from Michael Jordan who wants to share his fortune with you, we want it to be true because we feel like we know this guy, right? We followed his career for years and years. And so we are more likely to fall for a scam when it involves some sort of celebrity that we admire.
Why is that?
I think there's a lot of psychology to it, but it's not just the celebrity that makes it appealing. There's emotional manipulation, right? There's that sense of urgency. In many cases, the scams claim to come from an attorney or some state's attorney or something that dealing with someone's will or someone's fortune. We really need to look at clickbait headlines, recognize clickbait headlines, and just ask yourself, really? Like, could this really, really be true? And sometimes I think that when it's too good to be true, it usually is.
Do you think it's because we are so craving either that interaction with a human being or just touching that celebrity in some way?
Right. Like we're associating with them somehow, right? There's a link. The people who are most susceptible to these kind of scams are the lonely and isolated, like you mentioned. Older people also typically fall for it, and anyone who's financially strapped. Here's the trick. Like, it gets really appealing, right? You think that you're going to get money for nothing, but then they usually have to, and I'm using air quotes, verify eligibility by submitting some sort of bank statement or your social security number or providing some advanced fee with a credit card number. So what it is really is it's organized cybercrime groups from other countries, especially Russia, Nigeria, and Southeast Asia, who are data harvesting. They're just trying to get that kind of information that they can turn around and sell. So you really have to keep your antennas up for this sort of thing, even if it sounds really appealing. Make sure that you double check and report scams, not just to the platforms that host them, but also to the Federal Trade Commission.
I think the interesting thing about some of these as well is how these groups know how to use so-called social engineering.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to hit those buttons that trigger us to hand over some of that information. For example, creating a sense of urgency a lot of times is how they work.
And posing as a lawyer, right? And plus the algorithms of these platforms that they use, they could easily go to Facebook or Meta and say, could you please put this message on any page that is run by someone who's 65 and older or lives alone or is in financial trouble. So they have a really very advanced way to target people who are most susceptible to these scams.
I'm curious too, from your perspective as someone who does monitor media and the messages that we take in, I feel like we are flooded with so many of these scam warnings nowadays that you can't keep them straight. A lot of times the messages are really similar on how we approach it, but I'm wondering if it's kind of a cry wolf effect for people.
Or that the sky is falling, right? I think that in today's day and age, because we're consuming between 11 and 12 hours a day of electronic mass media, that we have to be more vigilant than ever, because there's research now that says up to 40% of material on social media platforms is false. Like we just have to be more vigilant than ever and make sure that we can tell what's real, meaningful, valid, and true.
And you've mentioned before chatbots too, how much of it is produced just automatically.
Yeah, the Atlantic magazine says that 52% of the accounts on social media platforms are actually bots. And so we have to keep in mind, like, what's the motivation behind these bot farms and these companies that are just filling these platforms with false and misleading information. We just really have to be careful.
Media expert and Webster University instructor Julie Smith, thank you for your time.
You bet.
Many St. Louis area kids back to school today, and we'll talk about how the new Missouri cell phone ban is going to play out. Chris Cillizza joins us to discuss the Trump-Zelensky meeting, and the Cardinals begin a road trip in Miami. All that and more on the Chris and Amy Show right after the news on KMOX.
Tom Ackerman here. It's time to crack open an ice-cold Budweiser on a hot day like today. Budweiser also is proud to continue a 15-year partnership with Folds of Honor. And it's always good to remember that Folds of Honor is an organization rooted in supporting military families in need. Service never stops, and neither